And it's the midweek edition of the most informative, educative, and analytical breakfast show on the block. My name is Sweetie Abochi.
Et moi, je m'appelle Benjamin Akako. Je suis votre co-animateur ce matin sur le AM Show. How about that?
Well, yes, that's good. I mean, Benjamin is back, and of course, he's going to give you so many things to look forward to. But this morning, of course, we'll start with the AM news, and after that, we'll bring you the news review. Dr. Kwame Asasante, who is a political scientist and head of European Studies at the University of Ghana, will join us for the news review segment, and then Muftan Abdullah will bring you AM Sports.
And from there, we get into the big story, starting with cement prices, the LI, which has now been laid. And there's no longer a controversial issue, as Minority Chief Whip describes and supports the laying of the legislative instrument in Parliament, which now needs 21 days to mature and become law. But the question is, will it get those 21 days, looking at the schedule of Parliament? What will this mean for you as a consumer? And what will it mean as well for the cement manufacturing industry as a whole? Today, right here, we delve into those issues.
Well, we'll also take a swipe at this ongoing GLOSAC strike issue. Now, GLOSAC is set to meet the Labour Commission today after declaring an indefinite nationwide strike over delay in implementing new salary structure of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. We will be on the location to tell you more about the development. So stay with us. We'll also bring you AM Business, and we'll tell you how effective chain management optimizes production processes. James Eshen is on that beat, and we'll bring you more.
Well, you do have to stay with us for all the action right here on the AM Show. But up next, we serve you the news. Do stay.
Welcome to the program. This is the AM News. Details now. After weeks of clamor, the Chief Justice yesterday finally allowed the ongoing explosive ambulance trial to be streamed live, revealing tense moments as the Attorney General wrapped up his cross-examination of the third accused, Richard Jakpa. The AG sought to prove yesterday that the 2.3 million euros worth of ambulances imported under the previous NDC administration were not fit for purpose. At the heart of prosecution's case is their insistence that the letters of credit for the ambulances were improperly executed, causing financial loss to the state. Listen to this tense moment from yesterday's trial as AG Godfred Dame clashed with Richard Jakpa, who accused him of heckling, forcing the judge to step in.
Is that not correct?
My lord.
That's very simple. The contract was between GOG, represented by Minister of Finance, and Big C. Is that not correct?
My lord, the contract was between the government of Ghana, represented by Minister of Health, and BC General Trading LLC.
Now, Exhibit X.
Hold on. And BC General Trading LLC.
BC General LLC.
Thank you. Now, Exhibit X was addressed to the Minister for Health. Is that not correct? Exhibit X was addressed to the Minister for Health. Is that not correct?
Exhibit X.
That is what.
Indeed, was addressed to the Minister of Health.
Now, in Exhibit X, you do not find anywhere at all that's the Minister for Health is directed to establish LC. To establish LC. Is that not correct? Is that it?
My lord,
is that not correct?
As I was talking of reading Exhibit X that he's referring to.
Please read.
You asked a question, going back, I need to go back there to answer you.
Now, straight scrutiny. If there's a line in there, I will try you.
This banter is not helping anybody. It makes it difficult also to report accuracy.
Right.
Unfortunately, you are the one I can speak to because You are the leader of the
My
So please, the question is whether in Exhibit X, he said that it is true. You do not find it anywhere that they are to establish the question, the answer, please.
Madam, can you
Please repeat the question.
In Exhibit X, you do not find anywhere. You do not find it anywhere at all. That's the Minister for Health or any person at all is directed to establish LCs. Is that not correct?
That's not correct.
Okay.
Because in Exhibit X, it is very, very clear and ambiguous here that, in other words, the government of Ghana is bound by the terms of the agreement and must proceed to perform them or risk paying a huge judgment debt. Must proceed.
Yes.
Must proceed to perform them. Perform
Now,
which one? Exhibit V.
Yes. The Attorney General.
And in Exhibit V, there is LC.
You are being so rowdy. I don't think.
My Lord, it's not allowing me to talk. It's just tackling me here. And no one is helping me here. He's not allowing me to flow to answer his question, my Lord. And no one is helping me.
Mr. Japa, who told you?
He's just here heckling me, not allowing me to flow to answer questions.
Mr. Japa.
I can't answer.
Mr. Japa.
Well, after that, both prosecution and third accused Richard Jakpa spoke to the media after the court proceedings, where both claimed the upper hand on what has been an explosive 3-week-long cross-examination. Our court correspondent, Latif Idrisu, was there for us and has come through with this report.
For the first time today, we had the live video link. That was a request put forth by the first accused person, Dr. Kesilato Forson, and it is now evident that the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, has granted that request by Dr. Kesilato Forson, and so today's proceedings has been live with the sharing of the video link. And so it remains to be seen what Big C would also say once the parties cross-examine the representative of the Dubai-based business entity. A lot has gone down today here. The Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah, the main focus today has to do with the contract, the terms of the contract, the time the contract was signed, and whether or not Big C had any mention in the parliamentary approval, the cabinet's approval, and all of that. We heard from the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Yeboah, who says, based on the cross-examination of Richard Jakpa, they are very confident that they have made their case as prosecutors and are only waiting for the determination by the trial judge.
The previous government had over 2 years to have, if any, remedied the situation. Why not?
He said at the time it wasn't handed over to government. It was supposed to be kept at a safe place for the installation of the accessories, training of paramedics before it is handed over. So it will not be accurate to say that it had been handed over to government at the time. He explained in court.
But you listened to him when he read the letters of Honorable Alex Segbefia, that those ambulances are vans, not my words, the words of Honorable Alex Segbefia. You also listened to his reading of the letters by Honorable Sherry Aite, who also said they were not vans and that they should stop manufacturing the said ambulance.
That Richard Jakpa said there is nowhere in this world where you would get an ambulance on the shelf.
They refused to give the accessories, which was by then at the port, because they arrived around November 2016. So there was not enough time for Alex Segbefia to clear them before handing over. That's what they gave to Ajimamenu. And they billed in everything of them. So they should just go, clear the accessories, inform the principal Big C, technical people will fly down. They are not that you are now coming to manufacture the ambulance. No. The accessory disposable, that you are just coming to put them in their compartment, put screws and tighten them in some area. Finish.
The NDC, the opposition party, led by the National Communications Officer, Sami Jemfi, as usual, they were also in court. And according to Sammy Gyamfi, he was surprised by some of the questions being asked by the Attorney General because for him they are elementary.
You saw the misinterpretation of a balance sheet, which has opening accounts, closing account, elementary. Even me, the little accounting they taught me at the law school, I understand this. You just see figures in a balance sheet and you interpret that to mean payment to BC. When that has to do with transactions, debit and credit in the account from which the letter of credit was established and not payment to BC. And JACPA exposed him. But for me, the most embarrassing one, perhaps, was when the Attorney General categorically suggested that, look, there is nothing in the agreement. There is nothing in the agreement that says that Big C will be converting vans into ambulances. He was so sure, take it and show me. Then JACPA educated him, read it to him. Clause 21, that the entire agreement includes the annexes. And Annex B is clear about conversion.
The case, as we know it now, has been adjourned to July the 11th, when Big C is expected to be cross-examined. So evidence will be taken from Big C via video link, because as we know it, Big C is a Dubai-based business and the witness is based in Dubai. And so the cross-examination will be taken via video link come next week, Thursday, either here at the court complex or at a virtual court in the Supreme Court building.
Away from the courts, let's get to Parliament. An NDC MP for Tamale Central, Ibrahim Muntala Mohammed, says his party has shown weakness by allowing a controversial legislative instrument to regulate the price of cement to be laid. After days of making a spirited argument against the proposed LI, the NDC caucus has softened its stance, and the LI has now been laid by Minister for Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond. Our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent has details for us. And we'll bring you details of that in the subsequent bulletin. But away from that, government donates 1.5 million cedis as seed money for the establishment of the National Hydrological Fund, launched on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. The fund, established by the Ministry of Works and Housing, seeks to provide the needed financial resources for the country's flood management and drainage infrastructure projects throughout the country. There's more in this report.
The persistent issue of perennial flooding and inadequate drainage infrastructure in parts of Ghana continue to pose significant threats to life and property. To address these challenges, the Ministry of Works and Housing held the inaugural Built Environment National Conference on Housing and Hydrology, which brought together stakeholders to deliberate on effective solutions to curb flooding. The Chief Director of the ministry acknowledged the infrastructure and drainage challenges in Ghana and emphasized that collaborative efforts are essential to solving them. As a proactive measure, the ministry has established a National Hydrological Fund to support these efforts.
Ghana has made some commendable investment in works and housing sectors of the economy, yet critical challenges still persist. Housing deficit exceeds 1.8 million units, and recurring flood causing millions of cities in annual damage, necessitating a collaborative efforts towards sustainable solutions. We have the power to turn this conference into a breeding ground for groundbreaking ideas. That is, we can develop practical strategies for increasing affordable housing options, explore flood resilient construction techniques and funding sources, and establish clear implementation plans.
Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, assured transparency by committing to release a report detailing both successes and failure of the ministry's works.
Over the next 3 days, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Works and Housing will provide detailed reports on government interventions. We will be open and honest about the successes and the failures, as well as the challenges so far, and we want to explore with you new ways of achieving results. Let us not pay lip service to the challenge of floods and sea erosion. Rather, let us follow our words with our money. Government, through the Ministry of Works and Housing, has prioritized an allocation of 1.5 million Ghana cedis as seed money for the fund, which will be handing over to the authority this morning. We want to encourage all stakeholders to join in making the authority and its operations a success by contributing to the fund.
During the conference, Dr. Kweku Eminimeje, Dean of Civil and Geoengineering at KNUST, highlighted that improper drainage is exacerbated by the widespread tiling of homes, which prevents water from soaking into the soil, overwhelming drainage systems.
The water is leaving quickly and going to the drain, and very little water is going into the ground. If our aquifers are unconfined aquifers, there is a looming danger. Groundwater will not be available in the future for us to draw. Not only that, drains are designed to carry water, not waste.
On a global scale, the frequency of floods is expected to rise due to environmental factors such as climate change. Ghana aims to implement measures to protect lives and properties in anticipation of this increasing flood risk.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Daniel Titus Glover, has advocated for a once-a-month cleanup exercise of the capital in an effort to rid Accra of its filth. This call comes on the back of the Homowo cleanup exercise organized by Garmanche Nite Kochu II, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, and Zoom Lion, together with the security agencies in Accra, to keep the city clean ahead of the Homowo Festival.
Promote sanitation and cleanliness, the Ga Traditional Council, in collaboration with local authorities, began the Homowo cleanup exercise today. Residents, including women, men and children, took to the streets to sweep, clean drainages and collect waste. While the exercise recorded an impressive turnout, concerns have been raised about its sustainability. Organizers of the Homowo cleanup exercise expressed satisfaction with the turnout but raised concerns about the accumulated waste in homes, highlighting the need for frequent cleanup drives.
And to start with it is the Garmanche celebration, and he brought this initiative for a cleanup to be done so that his community will be cleansed. And we believe culturally that before every festival, the community cleanses themselves so that blessings can come. And we as Zoom Lion Ghana Limited join them to support them with logistics and men. That is what we have done this morning from 6 a.m. till now. This is significant to us because we want to rid the city and Ghana of filth.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Daniel Titus Glover said he had instructed the Mayor of Accra to organize a cleanup exercise once every month in order to help keep the city clean.
It is important because you cannot do the cleaning today. Today we are doing today and tomorrow for the Odio. And you look at the amount of filth that we've taken out. To sustain it, it means that every month they go to come and make sure they mop up and be cleaning. The more you have your hands on, the more you'll be able to manage the disposal of these waste and others. So I think that it is imperative that the AMA should make sure every month they are in the area to clean the filth. And that's what I mean.
How much is the exercise cost us?
Mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Saki, was impressed with the exercise and hoped for its continuity.
Today, I'm happy that all the residents have adhered to this cleanup exercise. It is something that our regional minister, the Ministry of Sanitation, the local government, the chiefs, we've all come together, and special thanks go to Kintakitaria for leading this exercise. I'm believing strongly that it shouldn't be a 9-day wonder, but it will be a day-to-day affair. Since this morning, we've seen how they have cleaned their various homes. We are praying that this should be the act of everybody.
The cleanup exercise is being conducted in phases and had Sempe, Bese, Ablo and other Gamashi communities participating in today's event. Kenneth Jesse's report read to you.
The Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council and the Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Values are asking President Akufo-Addo to consider the anti-LGBTQ bill and pass it into law. At an event to offer special prayers against LGBTQ practice, the group implored all well-meaning Ghanaians to pray for the president to assent the bill. There's more in this report.
Heads of various religious bodies joined forces to fight against the acceptance of LGBTQI practice in Ghana. Though the anti-gay bill has been passed by Parliament, it is still awaiting the assent of President Akufo-Addo. At a strategic vigil, we saw members of Pentecostal churches trooping in to offer their support for a common goal. Reverend Dr. Stephen Wingam, General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God Ghana, called for more evangelism and outreach missions to bring people back to Christ.
Evangelize our community. Sit unconcerned beyond the prayer. Beyond the prayer. The panacea to this nonsense is to send the light, is to send the gospel to the nook and cranny of this country. We have stopped school evangelism. Today we have stopped hospital visitation. And these guys are evangelizing. We must wake up. We must wake up.
Second Deputy Vice Chair of GPCC, Apostle Dr. Aaron Amina, who is also the President of the Apostolic Church Ghana, indicated that the fight against LGBTQI has taken a whole different dimension, needing the intervention of God.
Our nation must experience God in a new way. Jehovah will speak again. This problem has come during our time. We must fight it. Fortunately for us, the battle is not ours.
On his part, lawyer Moses Fo Amwenin, Executive Secretary of the Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Values, called on all flag bearers and running mates, together with other stakeholders, to boldly declare their stance on the LGBTQI issue.
Presidential candidate Dr. Baumia Swakase on Duchiri. But me, Madam for Dr. Alan Chamati, maintaining Dr. Okwa, sorry, I was say he's Christ like. Now, Christ like an INT Wunkain. Dr. Mesro, who are Christ like. I was a witcher with Christ likeness. Nasa issue will declare opposition on the matter. Nanya presidential candidate, Omo vice presidential candidate, no so. Ya baby some. Anti ora na poa ka je doctor ya ba o ye be bisa o hin na wugina una ni gina hin na madam professor so no so ye be bisa no and then all the vice presidential.
And it's an unending rivalry between Kumasi Wesley Girls Senior High School and Kumasi Girls Senior High School after the two schools clashed in the Ashanti Regional Qualifiers of the National Science and Math Quiz. In a battle for academic supremacy, Kewegehe beat their all-time rivals, Kumasi Girls, only to concede to Adamomasi Senior High School, who are making their debut appearance at the national stage. Emmanuel Bright Kweku reports from Kumasi.
At least beating Kumasi Girls, we are okay with it.
Well, I can say fine, it's cool for now because the Kumasi Wesley Girls High School and Kumasi Girls too, we are not that cool, as I can say, but I would say we are cool for now. Beating Kumasi Girls is cool. But what we're expecting, we couldn't, it didn't happen though, but then we are cool for now. Kumasi Girls, no. We are not even expecting them to beat Kewege or to overcome Kewege. No. Even when you get to Interco and other stuff, no, they'll be giving our Jama, insulting us here and there. But today, no, you were not expecting that to happen. But once we have overcome them, we are cool. But you couldn't, but I think next time, all things being equal, something better will happen.
Big shout out to our Kumasi Girls, okay?
We are happy at least you beat them.
Yes, we beat Kumasi Girls, that's all. Yes. Brother. Yes, nothing much again, please. We are hoping that definitely by the end of this contest we should beat Kumasi Girls. But next aspect, we will try as much as possible to be on top and also qualify to the next stage. Shout out to Kewege.
And so these are the students from Adawumasi SHS, and they have qualified for the first time to the national stage of the National Science and Math Quiz. They beat city rivals, Kumasi Wesley Girls, and also Kumasi Girls and Namong SHS to qualify to the national stage for the very first time. I can see you taking a photo. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm even speechless.
You are talking now.
Oh, say, this one is a great. It is a big breakthrough. This is the first time for others to win and go to the national. Give thanks to the Almighty God. I feel happy what my students are enjoying. So it is all thanks be the Almighty God and to my contestants. Thank you.
So do you think Kumasi Girls and Kumasi Wesley Girls were no match at all?
Not necessary. Not necessary. Like I said, it is God that has seen us through.
I'm even speechless. I don't know how to say. I feel very sensational. I'm very happy.
Knowledge is from God, and we seek and we acquire it. So we are happy now.
Okay, now you're coming to the nationals. You have the likes of experienced schools like Prempeh College, OWAS.
They should wait. We are coming. They should wait. We are coming. They should wait for us.
We are not scared.
Why? We are not scared. We are coming. We are coming for them. They should wait for us. We are coming for them.
Per you asked a question that what will we do to Prempeh College? There is a saying that empty versa make more sound. Therefore, we don't have much to say. But when we meet them, then we go show them.
That's what we can tell you guys.
All right, sure. And so these are the students and teachers from Adawumasi SHS, and they have qualified to the grand finale. They beat to the national stage. They beat St. Kumasi Wesley Girls, Kumasi Girls, and Namong SHS, and to make their debut appearance. It was actually a tiebreaker between them and Namong, but some people are speculating that Kumasi Wesley Girls and Kumasi Girls came here only to fight over rivalry, and Kumasi Wesley Girls managed to actually beat Kumasi Girls, and so at least for them they are happy, but they will not be qualified to the national stage. From here at the KNUS Auditorium, my name is Emmanuel. Right quick.
Up next is Business Updates with Benjamin.
Well, let's settle for business now, as the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana is upbeat. The stabilization of the local currency will play a significant role in ensuring prices of fuel drop at the pumps. Now, according to COPEC, if the inflows from the IMF normalize the cedi rate, consumers will witness cheaper costs of fuel at the pumps before the end of the month. His comment comes at a time where some oil marketing companies have increased prices of their products, attributing the hike to the cedi's depreciation and world market prices. Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, tells Joy Business steps must be taken to stabilize the cedi to ensure cheaper costs of fuel.
I'm quite confident is that if indeed the cedi stabilizes with the inflow of this IMF 360 million USD into the economy, then possibility of petrol prices being stable for next window or probably going down exists immeasurably. But as it stands, you cannot even be sure, because we saw in February when the IMF money came, that was when the city decided to start, depreciating a few days after the money had come. So we'll just wait to see by the middle of the month to see how bad or good the city's run of form gets. And if it gets good, as has been projected, I am quite certain that fuel prices would not only stabilize, but it will come down before the end of the month, July.
And on that fuel-related note, we cap off the news, handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Yes, Benjamin, and now let's get ready for the news review, because that's the end of the AM News now. Stay with us. Okay, director said we are airborne, Benjamin.
Nisombe too. Welcome back. We're back on your screens, Sweetie Abochi, and yours truly. We'll be introducing our guest shortly, but let's get right down to it. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helps us bring you this segment every weekday. And as always, they are offering you same. If you're a man, they are offering you prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, they are offering you fertility screening for free. I've dilated on these matters many, many times. You don't want to be caught pants down, pardon the pun. So just head to any of the branches of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, starting from here in Accra. They are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Then there's Kumasi, Kronomo Abwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Nesiama Nzema. Their call lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review, and guess who joins us this morning? Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He's a political scientist. He is also director of the Center for European Studies. He'll be joining us in a bit, but I'll come now into the studio. There's this issue about Professor Stephen Adeh questioning, has free SHS been implemented illegally up to this point? And I know some people will be watching this morning and saying, there he goes again. He's always railing against. One of the biggest problems with our country is policy and its implementation.
Yeah.
Fine policies, poor implementation. But in this case, the policy, as far as some of us know it, as far as the ranking member of the Education Committee knows it. Can you imagine that? I mean, at their level, he says he's not seen a proper full policy document. Yeah. We've run the thing.
4 years? Or?
It's been more than that.
Okay.
I mean, free SHS, right after 2016, 2017, thereabouts, there were, for how many years now? And you see, when you say these things, then people will say, no, it's a good idea being implemented badly. But the point is, if you don't have a proper policy document, what are you implementing? How are you implementing it? And some of the challenges, you see, and I think that is part of why this bit about a review has taken so long. Because based on what are you going to act? But then again,
but what stops them from actually putting it together now? I mean, the concerns have been raised. If you don't have a proper policy framework, and we're talking about it, what stops you from actually quickly putting it together?
Well, they have said that is why the bill they want to put together the free SHS bit in there. But why implement it at this time? It's almost as though, let's tie the hands of any future. Listen, there are ways of going about this and maybe changing everything all the same. I don't know what the plan is. Let's stop being political and do what must be done in a right way. It's not about the politics. It's not about who brought what policy and how it's going. Let's do it right. That's it.
Well. And then the LI for regulating cement prices has been laid. And let's see how that goes. The NDC caucus are saying they've softened their stance. But, I mean, really, what could they have done about it?
I listened to Agboja say that so the thorny issue in there was about price regulation. Yes. You know, it reminds me of stories about the Kalabule days where there was control price, right? In the 80s. Price regulation, we're in an open market. It's a capital market. You don't go regulating. Private sector, the push and pull factors, demand and supply, determine the prices of products. You don't go regulating. They claim, when I listened to, I think, Honorable Agboja, that issue had been ironed out. But you would hear, is it the Tamale Central legislator, Murtala Mohammed, say that, no, we shouldn't have. But then again, it is what it is. Would you like to bring in Dr. Asah-Asante?
Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante joins us now on phone. Doc, good morning to you. It's a rather wet morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Sweetie. Good morning, and good morning to Ben, and good morning to our viewers and listeners.
Good morning, Doc.
So let's get straight into it, Doc. What's on your mind this morning? You have about a minute or two to get into it.
Yes. I will look at this issue that the former National Security Minister touched about.
You mean Francis Poku, former National Security Advisor?
Yeah, Mr. Francis Poku.
Right.
Yes. I think last weekend he had a session, and then he did say that there are threats to this, our democracy and all that. And you saw that statement was very heavy for you and I, simply because we have worked so very hard to sustain and nurture this democracy. So if there are real threats that people find that, they prefer other systems to democracy, then all of us must get up and get our shoulders to the wheel and work very hard to save this democracy. But there are a few questions I have for Mr. Poku. I don't doubt his competence. I don't doubt what he knows in the area of security and all that. But I really want him to help me to find answers. Is it the research that he has done, or is it the case that from where he sits, he has seen those signs, or is it the case that there is a certain information he has chanced upon? Given his experience and given what he knows, he has a lot under his sleeves. And by this statement, I don't undermine anything he has said. I just want to know, so that I know the kind of work that we need to do to support this cause. Because coming from him is a big one. And I always respect him. He knows the stuff. And where he comes from, I have no doubt in my mind that if this information he wants to churn out, it is well-grounded and all that. But we want to see so that we can double our efforts. Because then it tells us that so far what we have done is not enough. We need to do more. So I will urge him to help us. Given what he knows, and by his training and experience, he cannot also divulge all those things. I still respect that. But that gives us hope that we need to double our efforts and strengthen the frontiers of this democracy, because we can't let it through our fingers. The advice he has given, I have taken them personally serious, and then I'm sure the state has also taken so, and then all of us should see it as a client call that we need to work at it and save this democracy. We have been under military rule, and people like us who were even young people at the time, the kind of things we experienced, we don't want to go back to that old order.
Right.
So we have to do everything to salvage this. So I salute him for bringing it up, but we need more information so that we can also help him to do his work. But having said all that, I don't doubt him at all. I know he knows his work and all that. But if he can give us more information, we'll be fine, so that we know the direction in which we can, strengthen and make democracy work for our people.
Right.
Interesting. He says if we're not careful, by 2025, we could experience another history. That's how he puts it. But let's get into the papers.
Verify, huh? So I'll start with the Daily Guide newspaper. Banner stories. On SDG Action Summit, Nana Akufo-Addo pushes for more youth investment. 2.37 million euros ambulance not fit for purpose, according to JAKPA. EC reopens transfer of votes. NDC MPs boycott vetting. Government launches 1.5 million cedis hydro fund. Let's get into the stories now, starting with this ongoing ambulance case. The story is on page 3, and it reads, Richard JAKPA, the businessman at the center of the 2.37 million euros defective ambulances trial, yesterday admitted that the ambulances in the state which they were when delivered in December 2014 rather, were not fit for purpose because there was a clause in the contract between government and Big C General LLC, the supplier, which barred governments from using the ambulances until they were officially handed over. And I listened to him yesterday explaining, and he says that, you know, there was some procedure in place. They were supposed to install the equipment, train some people from here in Ghana to be able to handle the ambulances and all that it comes with. And so maybe they rushed the case and, you know, but Doc?
And that the components were actually available, but it was in the twilight of their administration.
It was just a matter of
Alex
time.
Segbefia, I'm sure, on hindsight, I am sure if Alex Segbefia, the former health minister, had known that it could evolve like this, they would have probably gone ahead within the time period and ensured that the fixing of the components for them to be complete ambulances would have been done. But
before they even handed over.
Minimankano, not K-Tree.
Okay, so here I want to do 3 stories in the Daily Guide newspaper. Then we come to you and then we go back to Benjamin. On SDG Action Summit, Nana pushes for more youth investments. President Akufo-Addo wants his fellow African leaders to invest more in the development of the continent's youth. He believes it is one of the key interventions to turn around the fortunes of the continent. That, he said, would also help achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Mr. President, what are you doing for Ghanaian youth? Leave the EC alone. Ghana is inching to another crucial milestone towards this. An editorial. I want to do the story about EC reopening voter transfer. That's on page 6. Yeah, here it is. So in an effort to enhance accessibility and voter participation in the upcoming elections, the Electoral Commission has announced the reopening of applications for the transfer of vote and proxy voting. This initiative is targeted at security agencies, public universities, and prison facilities across the country. And that was in a statement released by Fred Tete, Deputy Director at Research, Monitoring and Evaluation from the Commission. So these 3 stories for your quick reflections, Doc.
Yes, I'll start with the EC and voter transfer and then proxy voting processes. Yes, these are very important processes. You need them at all times. The EC, at least not quite long that they've been in office, they will, work very well in this area. My hope and prayer that they will be able to execute it well and then make sure that they get the basics right. We don't want situations where they take a decision the next day, they make a U-turn on them, all that. They should reflect on these things before they come out. But I have no doubt in my mind that they should be able to do a good job. The youth and development. The president is promising, urging his fellow leaders in Africa to do that. That's a good call, but charity begins at home. We want to see more in this country. There are a lot of people, young people, who are parading in our streets doing absolutely nothing. And remember, the National Security Minister did inform us that threat that they pose to the security of this country. So I believe that that message must be drilled down in Ghana so that we see the action in this regard, because the youth are yearning for jobs. Not that they are lazy, but that they want to work. So the state should be able to create that opportunity, that enabling environment for them to apply their God-given talent and make life for themselves. That is all that we want to tell our president.
What about this ongoing ambulance trial? Any quick reflections before we go to Ben?
Oh, I'll leave it with the call.
All right, sure. Benjamin.
Well, let's get into other stories. And the New Finder newspaper as well start from experts stress strict fiscal discipline to support economic recovery. President outlines 4-point agenda to accelerate SDGs implementation. I think you touched a bit on that. I'm more concerned about SDGs 1 and 2, poverty and, access to food and everything in there. Prosecution of persons behind financial sector mess too slow. That's according to Dr. Addison. Clocksack declares nationwide strike. We brought it to you in the news today. And 1.5 million Ghana cedis allocated to hydrological fund as seed money towards mitigating flood risks, improving water management. Where do I even start? Let's start from page 4, shall we? Let me quickly get there. I'll be very quick. So, key speakers at the inaugural Quarterly Economic Roundtable Forum have highlighted the urgent need for the government to ensure strict fiscal discipline to ensure long-term macroeconomic stability. Now, the program under the theme Restoring Macroeconomic Stability brought together seasoned economists, government officials, policy think tanks, and academia to brainstorm on the subject. Dr. Nii Kwaku Sowa, a renowned economist and country director of the International Growth Center, the keynote speaker at the forum, highlighted Ghana's historical struggle with sustained macro stability, pointing to the persistent challenges such as ballooning budget deficits, soaring debt levels, and volatile exchange rates. It goes on and on. It talks about prolonged tax holidays being criticized, unpredictable events, but there's also, there are those events we can predict. Wanton borrowing, high inflation, and all of that. We're talking about cement prices, but now who caused them? As was mentioned yesterday, if you look since 2000 and what? From 2010, thereabouts, cement prices have increased by 1 cedi, 2 cedis every year or 2, right? So right from a certain period, I think after 2017 or 2019, if you see the sharp spike, it tells you something. It's not just about, oh, cement prices have increased. Now, who caused them? What are causing those dynamics? There's also, let me look at the CLOGSAC one and then the hydrological one, and then I will just wrap it up. So I'll go back to page 2. The Civil and Local Government Staff Association Ghana has declared a nationwide strike effective today, Wednesday, July the 3rd, 2024, after the government's failure to implement a new salary structure for its members. We know the story. If you didn't follow the news, they are going to meet with the Labour Commission today, but they are saying that the salary arrangements that should have been met by government have not been met. And yes, they will go and meet with the Labour Commission, but that is no guarantee that they will pick up their tools again. And finally, that story on page 9, 1.5 million Ghana cedis allocated to hydrological fund. So government has set up the Ghana Hydrological Fund, a crucial initiative aimed at mitigating flood risks and improving water management across the nation. With a seed sum of 1.5 million Ghana cedis, government expects stakeholders, including development partners, to make financial contributions to support the fund. It goes back to that saying, which has been used today. Borrowed water doesn't taste, a certain way because it's borrowed. But we borrow on everything. We've had our flooding challenges for how long? And every time we're relying on others. And the last we heard of the Works and Housing Minister, he said, they had only about 2% of what was needed to do the work in terms of flooding. So I guess even today, I'll be giving you the weather forecast at the end of the day. Thunderstorms threatened. If it pours in your area and there's flooding, you could be affected. But Doc, any quick thoughts on that?
I'll start with a hydrological funding and all that. Yes, when I hear these things, I ask myself whether our leaders really care for the people of this country. We have had this problem, as you rightly said, time and again. And the problem doesn't seem to go away. There are so many factors that contribute to that, but as if there are no people who are responsible for this. I'm surprised. It starts with planning. What is the planning department doing? Where people build in wrong places and they create all manner of things for us. Government itself, what has happened to, building infrastructure that will support these things? We contribute in terms of taxation and all that. What is these resources used for? Simply use of these resources and all that. So things that we need to spend money on, we spend money on things that we don't need them immediately, cathedral and the rest of them. Where is it? Meanwhile, there's a pressing issue that affects the community. And I also blame my people, the people of this country, that we have kept quiet for a very long time. We don't demand these things. We need to demand them. It is our right. We have what? The right to what? We are entitled to that. The public has the right to know how their resources are used, how they manage on behalf of what? The society. We don't demand this. So politicians take for a right. We need to what? Stand up and make sure that resources that Ethiopian states are used and used for distribution. I'll go on to also look at the issue of COSAC, strike and the rest of them. All the time, issues that need to be dealt with dispatch. We just waste time, allow, strike to take place, man hours wasted and all that. Then they will call back, government is ready to settle you, go to work and all that. Why? If you know that you need to settle them, do that quick. Because at the end of the day, the man hours who are lost cannot be regained. And why are we wasting a lot of productive time? I think we need to double our efforts and then fix these basics. The issue of fiscal discipline. I ask myself, can this government maintain that? It is one of the governments that has been very weak in this regard, where they don't maintain discipline. And what is so funny and annoying at the same time is that look at how IMF is giving us this amount of money. Anytime that tranche comes and all that, you see report that follows. Oh, we have been able to meet this condition, and now they've given us. So I ask myself, why would you allow somebody to hold a key, behind you and say, do this? When you do and you praise yourself, you have been able to meet the time, our figures are right, we are getting so and so. On your own, what did you do?
Right.
I believe that our leaders, some of them are not up to the task because or a sheer wickedness that you don't want to support the enterprise of this country. And that, because I can see how you mismanage the system, then somebody comes in and then walk you through a very tight rope and you are able to follow on your own.
Right.
Why can't you do it? I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but thank you for the thoughts on those matters. Let's get into our next paper.
There's a story in the Ghanaian Publisher I want to, but let me start from the banner stories. Government sets up hydrological fund to address drainage dredging challenges. Garmanche ministers clean Accra. That's ahead of the Homowo Festival. Financing gap threats to Africa's SDGs. President Akufo-Addo. And I was just reading a bit of it when you were talking, and it's interesting to know that, like Doc said, charity begins at home. So here's the story. President Akufo-Addo has advised African leaders to explore innovative ways of ratcheting up domestic financing for the successful implementation of the SDGs. And the continent's commitment to SDGs remain unquestionable, yet our efforts are consistently, that's not, let me skip to the part where, so to address the existential threats, the president rallied the continent to work assiduously to enhance the mobilization of domestic resources by improving tax collection systems. The respective governments, in addition, ought to resolve combating illicit financial flows and promoting a culture of accountability and transparency in the public financial management. Those just feed into charity begins at home. And I know everyone reading this story is wondering, how transparent has this government been? And are we actually mobilizing resources domestically? We are not paying our debts. We are still borrowing. And the president is telling other African leaders to what? Assiduously mobilize resources domestically.
There's a story about Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi. And though, yes, some put him in a certain light. You remember his statue at the University of Ghana being pulled down for some racism. But there's a story about him that one day a woman went to him and said, "Wise man, my child is too fond of sweets. I want you to talk to him so he stops." And Mahatma told her to go and come back a week after. And then he spoke to the boy. Then the woman was curious and asked, "Why did you not tell him last week?" And he said to the woman, "Last week, I myself was struggling with eating sweets." That's where we are. Man. We ourselves. I mean, how do you tell someone something when you yourself? It is what it is.
It is what it is. There was this other story that I just wanted to take a quick swipe at, and then I'll come to you, Doc. Finance Minister slams minorities and patriotic conduct. And he's saying that the threat to cedi depreciation is the speculations, and so we should just... Okay, I'll just read the story a bit and then I'll come to you. Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, Finance Minister, says, or has encouraged all stakeholders, particularly the minority in Parliament, to stop fueling speculation to enable the cedi to remain strong. He said the cedi had become stronger due to implementation of sound policies, completion of the country's debt restructuring with bilateral official creditors and Eurobond holders, and expected flows from external sources. And now the only threat to cedi depreciating is speculation. Those two stories from the Ghanaian Publisher newspaper for your quick reflections, Doc.
I'll start with the cedi depreciation and all the commentary from the minister. I listened to him and I said, Mr. Minister, hold on a minute. All right. You now saying that you have found policies, the cedi is strong and you are doing all these things, and you are so expecting what external inflows and the rest of them. Why can't we organize what we have here so that we don't go to them? I mean, we have everything here, resources, name them, countless. And the little that comes, we receive from outside, well, we are so happy and all that. It's so funny because I think we can do better if we manage resources well without somebody with a cane behind us. I mean, directing us to what to do. Then our independence has become meaningless because Nkrumah and co were fighting for a political independence as well as economic emancipation from the shackles and tentacles of the big powers. Today, after we have moved out and gained political independence, economic independence is a problem for us because our leaders will not do things right. They will always want to cut corners, create problems for us, and at the end of the day, we go to their mother called IMF, who is always ready to support us. Let us remember that the day that these groups, these bodies, they will disappoint us, we'll be in crisis. We need to make sure that we mobilize things ourselves and then forget about those who want to really help us. Let us begin the forward march here. I'll talk about public financing, public finance management, and the rest of them. That we want to encourage. The president was talking about tax collection and all that. Yes, I understand that from governance perspective, there is always the need for states to mobilize resources to run its affairs. That is what we call extractive capacity of the state. But we want to ensure that the money that you take, we want to ensure value for money. What do you use it for? All right. We have a lot of projects we have used state resources to build. Look at our affordable housing project. They are all in the bush. And who talks about that? We go about, abusing this first, abusing state resources, and yet you encourage people that pay your tax, do this, do that, do that. Yes, our citizens will do, but always it is incumbent upon our leaders to do what is needful because they are entitled to do that. They have to do that. That's why we have put them in those offices to do things on our behalf. So I believe that everything that the president has said, we want to see it being manifest in this country.
Thank you, Doc. I'll just do the banner stories, headlines. The Accra Times says quality of democracy is determined by Parliament, according to Alban Bagbin. Information Minister briefs Parliament on RTI 2024 outlook. Gregory Afoko's family worried. Cucumber culture, a rich heritage worth preserving. Those are just some banner stories here. Benjamin.
Well, Doc, we have to go, but I'll just give these headlines and pieces of information. The Daily Searchlight, the only story, the others we've already looked at. Pentecost pastor shot and robbed at Papase, Pastor Samuel Kobla-Na. And we commiserate with the Pentecostal family, the entire Christian family, and Ghana as a whole. Robbed and shot. Very, very sad. There's also this one I found interesting on the entertainment page. Shaxi. The first time I saw it, I was like, is it a Shatta taxi? Yeah. And I hear it. He says he invested $2 million in that to create jobs for the youth, for young people, and that he could have invested it on stuff for himself, Rolls Royce, Lamborghini and stuff. I think we need to see more of that, more of such investments. I'm not the biggest fan of Shatta Wale, but Nipayadia Osayi, and that's a good thing. Just to wrap, two things. I've seen this piece of information from the Information Ministry, the Public Policy Manager for Anglophone West Africa for Meta, Sade Dada, talking about content creators now being able, I think the steps are in place, to monetize Facebook. So if you're not aware of it, that is part of it. Facebook is going to share revenue with you. There are plans for that. And look out today. We are looking at light rain showers in some places, but in some places it's going to be pretty hard. 25 degrees largely, averagely, across the country. But it's already pouring here in Accra, at least this dawn. So be on the lookout. If you're stepping out, carry your umbrella. And that's how we're going to cap off the news review. Doc, thank you so much for your time.
I am also grateful. Have a good day.
I wish you the same. And that is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, political scientist and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We end with Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, throwing that challenge to you. Come, if you're a man, they'll screen you for free for prostate issues. Come, if you're a woman, they'll screen you for fertility issues. Gratis. Reach out to them at any of their branches, starting with Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma Boehian behind the Angel Educational Complex, the Stakrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiamanzima. You can reach them on 0244 867-068 or 0274-234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Sports is up next. Do stay for that.
Good morning. Let's do sports now on AM Show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. We start with the reigning champions of the Ghana Premier League, Samatex, as they've begun preparations ahead of their maiden challenge in the CAF Champions League. The Samurai Boy-based side secured the championship with 2 games to spare, finishing the season on 61 points. They are hoping to replicate Mediama Sporting Club, who qualified for the group stages at their first attempt. Here is their general manager, Edmond Aka.
To start our preseason, because the next game is on the 16th of August in the Champions League.
Oh, wow.
So we cannot wait. We need a minimum of 6 weeks, a maximum of 8 weeks to prepare for this, the first leg. Yeah. And for that matter, the preseason. Okay. So we are camping in the Eastern region, train at the favorite Safari Valley, yes. Where we have been camping for the past 3 seasons for our preseason. The regulations of the competition requires that your opponents should not travel more than 200 kilometers from the capital. Okay. And then the next available airport is the Takoradi Airport. Yes. But because of the bad route from Takoradi to the Sama Boy, yes, the distance is more than 200 kilometers. And as a result of that, we can't play anywhere near the Western region. Wow. Then we have no choice to play in Accra.
Now, the Olympic qualification window has finally closed, and Ghana will be represented by 5 athletes in the individual events. Globally, the Games promises to be exciting, with top athletes set to clash, especially in the track and field events. Now, Joy Sports editor Fentu Tahiru Fentu examines the potential rivalries and storylines that could light up the competition in Paris.
So the U.S. Olympic trials have come to a conclusion after 1 week of very intense competition. In fact, it wasn't just the U.S. trials. There had been, I think, as many as 25 or so trials going on all around the world. All of that mostly in anticipation of the deadline for the track and field qualification period, which was on Sunday, June 30. And a lot of them have set up various storylines of how the Olympic track and field event could look like in Paris. And the storylines are fascinating. Where do we even begin? Okay, let's begin with the men's 100 meters, for example. Big surprise, Christian Coleman, a 2019 world champion, didn't make it. He finished 4th, and there was double heartbreak for him in the 200 meters as well, where he finished 4th again. So he wouldn't be going to the Olympics in any individual event. If anything at all, maybe part of the 4x100 meter relay team. In a way, that is the brutal nature of the US trial system. It doesn't matter what your previous record is. What's important is show up on the day and make sure you finish in the top 3. That's what someone like Noah Lyles did. He won the 100 meters, won the 200 meters. I was very happy to see Fred Kelly back in the 100 meters. But also important to see that Kenny Bednarik will also be doubling, because again, he finished 2nd behind Noah Lyles in the 100 meters and finished 2nd behind him in the 200 meters as well. Speaking about Noah, in particular, 19.52 seconds, he broke a 28-year-old US trials record. And it just tells you about what's possible for this man in Paris. The 100 meters is where the big problem is. I think the 200, there's no doubt that he would win. It was good to see Ariel Knighting also make the Olympics, by the way. because he hadn't competed all season, had his own issues with doping issues and all these problems, but he's got them behind him now. The 100 meters, however, is less than straightforward, because while the US trials were going on, the Jamaican trials were also going on, and Keishan Thomas and Oblique Saville were blazing. They were blazing, okay? Keishan Thompson, he came up with a 9.77 second finish. It was unbelievable. And even the one in second place, Oblique Saville, 9.81, that was faster than even Noah Lyles' winning time at the US trials. And what's more, Oblique Saville beat Noah Lyles in another competition in Jamaica just a couple of weeks ago. So the 100 meters might be less straightforward than the 200. I think the 200 we can all beat our chest and say that Noah has a lockdown. The 100 less so. As far as the women are concerned, the big story is that Sha'Carri Richardson, having won the US trials, looks like she could be winning the Olympic title in the 100 meters. But the biggest story is from there. Is that all three girls that qualified over the 100 meters, Titi Terry and Jefferson, Melissa Jefferson, Sha'Carri, all of them trained under the same coach, Mitchell, which was a really great story to see.
The moment of truth is finally here.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a standing ovation, the woman of the moment, Miss Eunice Asiedu Ejipon.
This was the moment Eunice Asiedu Ejipon was declared winner of the second edition of the Joy News Impact Makers Awards. Scores of pupils have gathered in front of their classrooms singing to welcome their teacher, 26-year-old Eunice Asiedu Ejipon, back to school. It has been 72 hours since she was crowned the winner of the 2024 Impact Makers Awards, and the excitement on the children's faces is unmistakable. Four years ago, Eunice arrived in this community to find a non-existent school. Rather than seeking a transfer, she stayed, collaborating with a local pastor and traditional leaders to transform a church into a makeshift school. Starting with just 7 pupils in that church building, the school's enrollment has soared to 125 pupils in 6 months and now boasts 9 trained teachers.
In fact, as the Bible has stated that we should try.
Here at the Noka MA Basic School, I've met Reverend Prince Owusin Tiamwa, founder of the Maranatha Power Ministries International, who generously offered his church to begin this educational journey. He credits Eunice as a pivotal force in this endeavor and expresses his gratitude to Joy News for recognizing her efforts.
She has done great work for her. She's the one who started the school. She came to me that they want to start a new school here, so how can I help her? So I'm the one who registered the children, and after she has come, then I give the names and then the little amount that we will be receiving to her, and she did everything correctly.
Okay. So previously there was no school?
No, there was no school here. I told my church members that I wanted to start a daycare for the children, and so for the chief's intervention and then the assemblyman said that it will be prudent for us that we start a new school here. And Eunice is the one who came here, and I helped her. So the two of us started registering them and do everything before the staff came in, because all the children here go to Damai school, and it is very risky for the children by crossing the road. It was very so. we thought it was that it would be good for us to start a school here. So for the meantime, I should give my church for them so that they use it. Meanwhile, the MP and then the assembly people came. We have started a school building there, but it's not completed. So that's what I sacrificed this school for them, to use for a while. Oh, I feel great. I was very delighted that as a new school like this, they have appointed one of our members to that award. So I was very happy about it. It is helping a lot because most of the children were not going to school. So after we have started this school, all of the people have brought their children here, and it is really helping them. At times you see the boys, the children roaming in town, doing nothing. But as the school started, all of them has come to this school. All that I want to say that they should help us. We have a lot of things to accomplish. The school is not it is not roofed, and mostly we don't have furniture for the children. So this is a big tax. So if Joint FL can help us by sending our petition to the government for him to also come and see us.
Secretary to the Noka Town Development Committee, James Yaokwachi, shares his appreciation for the blessings that Joy News and Eunice Ejipon have brought to their community.
Eunice has been a great help to this school. When we started, she was the only teacher here. He mobilized the children before the Ministry of Education sent some teachers here. So she has been very, very helpful to this school. Joy News has been a blessing, I would say, to the whole nation. They have been helping us in diverse ways. So what I would say is that they should continue doing their great work.
My name is Jase Amako.
Jase Hene of Noka, Nana Amako appeals for the completion of a new school building, acknowledging the honor Eunice has brought to their community. He says, we recognize her efforts in helping to start a school here in this community. She mobilized the children and ensured they attended school. The traditional authorities and the elders of the community acknowledge her contribution. God bless her and give her long life. We will never forget her good work, he said.
US News so yebon about say one so senior water about achi ma ba no ba school no obugu school no wodi na achi ama enei one so one ba na abaso no yenso yebon abaso say won ayama abayo no yeda won ase say one so won atew abayo anim na aka yan no ka fo mpan ne ene o man nyina yenso yeda won ase.
Classes are in full swing with Eunice diligently teaching the pupils. Under Ms. Ejipon's leadership, the Noka MA Basic School offers education from kindergarten to basic 6. Eunice says she has started receiving calls from NGOs and philanthropists eager to support the community right after she won the Joy News Impact Makers Award.
It's awesome. I feel excited after the awards and coming back to work with the case. Their smiles, at least I feel overwhelmed that at least what I was doing in the dark, it has come to light, and looking at the smiles on the kids, I am so excited, super excited. The future is bright. The future is bright, and I know we have a lot of big men and women in them. So with them schooling, I'm hoping to see in the next future big doctors, engineers, teachers, and probably presidents, ministers, and peace in them. With this award, I know it's a nice initiative, and it will help in terms of giving us teaching and learning materials. I said, Joy News, I am so grateful. I thank you so much, but I wasn't expecting, but God be so good, and with the Joy News Impact Makers Award being nominated, I feel happy, surprised, because I have been receiving calls from all over the country, and I say thank you to the multimedia group. I say thank you so much. May God bless you.
You've been receiving a lot of calls from
NGOs, philanthropists, even individuals who want to support in making this smiles on this case. So,
already you started receiving calls from
yes,
NGOs.
please. I have received calls, and I'm still counting.
A resident near the Noka Basic School, Diana Aremia, testifies to her daily hard work in educating the children. She notes that this effort has reduced the risk of children who previously had to cross a busy road to attend school in an adjoining community.
It has helped reduce the danger of our children crossing the busy highway to go to school. The school has saved many lives, and we are grateful to her, the pastor, and the traditional authorities. She has done very well. I used to observe her from here. She was doing it alone, but she put in a lot of effort and did it well. Over 100 children. She did well. Joy News has also done well. God bless you for remembering the Noka community.
Me back room had 11 years. Yeah, but I'm banner crew we 96. Yeah, but I say no. Me was say school never hands improvement never yet. Yeah, because of that.
Well, our impact makers still making an impact out there. And for those of you who helped us do this, it has come to stay, and we're grateful to you. But let's come into the studio now. We're going to be talking about, is it even LI 240? Because I've heard some interesting things from my guests this morning. But today, a bill was laid, and I say a bill intentionally, you understand shortly, in Parliament yesterday. Purportedly, according to Honorable Agboja, there had been some changes to the document they had initially seen as presented by Kobina Tahiru Hammond, KT Hammond, as we know him, the Minister for Trade and Industry. But what is the way forward? What will this mean if it goes through? Will it pass the test of going through the processes for 21 days? And what then happens after that? More importantly, how will it affect you if you are constructing, if you are into construction, if you use cement? Well, this morning we have our guest joining the conversation. Immediately to my left, we have the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Murtala Mohammed. He's disagreed with the minority side, his side in Parliament, his caucus in Parliament, on their stance. To his left, we have Mr. Samuel Amegaibo, and he is Executive Secretary for the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, GREDA for short. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. I want to start from here. The LI that was laid yesterday, we know of LI 240. What was laid on the floor of Parliament or before Parliament yesterday? What was laid?
Well, good morning to you and good morning to my colleague. A beautiful place. You guys seem to be making a lot of money.
No, it's been a lot of work in progress. This place should have been done much earlier, but there's CD dollar euro thing.
So just messed up. I know the economy is in a disastrous state, but you guys seem to be making a lot of money. It's a very beautiful edifice, and congratulations. Even in the midst of turmoil and struggle,
right?
You guys seem to be doing well. Look, what was laid yesterday was no different from what we all know.
No, just confirm for me. Was that LI 240?
What was laid yesterday was no different from what we know. If there is a proposed LI, which is 240, and there have been some amendments, as we were told yesterday by the leadership of Parliament,
in supporting the laying of the LI. They couldn't have, if there was any changes, they would have indicated that the LI completely has been changed. So it is the same LI which was laid yesterday. So that's what I just have to say on.
So that was LI 240?
Yes, that was LI 240, yeah.
Right. And you heard Honorable Agboja from your side saying that, well, he had been told that some changes had been effected. He mentioned specifically the regulatory aspect of it. And of course, I mean, you remember the days of control price. I mean, it's an open market. He says that was the bone of contention. He was informed that it had been taken out, based on which they were now supportive of it because some crucial elements had been taken out and there had been some arrangement that they are taking it out and so they would support it. Why did you not support it?
Well, I'm a member of the Trade and Industry and Tourism Committee.
Right.
This particular LI, and mind you, it borders on a legislative instrument that government is seeking to have in Parliament. It was referred to the Subsidiary and Legislative Committee of Parliament. When they had a meeting, I sat in as a friend to the committee, and I asked some questions. In fact, I asked the minister the questions in the chamber a day before the committee sat, and when I entered, he was present. Let me quickly state that you had your reporter, Kweku Asante, who came into that meeting, and the minister demanded that he leave the meeting. And I remember appointed to the minister, per the new standing orders, the public is allowed to sit at committee meetings on condition that the chairman of the committee allows them to. And then when I made this statement, the minister said, ask the committee chair, in this case, Honorable Ayeni, whether he was comfortable with the journalist sitting. And said he didn't have any problem with that. The minister insisted the gentleman leaves. Only for
so K.T. Hammond insisted that Kweku Asante leave.
To leave, and he can confirm.
And I heard that.
Only for the minister to convey a meeting with the cement producers and ambush them with media men. And when the people said they were not going to sit in the meeting, he then says that they don't have transparency. Why do we think the public would need more transparency between a meeting the minister is going to have with producers and committee of parliament, where a detail of the proposed LI is discussed? So I think that he should be the last person who should be talking about transparency here. The last time I bought cement was just the day before yesterday. And I bought it at a price that is unacceptable to me.
How much?
110 cedis in Tamale.
Where?
Yeah.
In Tamale?
In Tamale, yes. In some instances, you even get it more than that. Here, I'm told, it's sold at 105 cedis. 110 cedis. That was how much I bought the cement. So we all agree that the prices at which we buy cement in this country is just unacceptable. There's no question at all about that. But the attempt of government trying to push the blame entirely on the producers is disingenuous. Over 70% of what is used to produce cement in this country are imported.
So what are we talking about? Limestone? I think we have that here.
Yes. Clinker. Over 70% are imported.
Right.
Actually, 95.
95, gold.
95% of...
Cement is...
Let's do this slowly. 95% of the components used for cement in Ghana are imported.
It's imported.
So you see...
Okay, so then it begins to make sense, because if it's imported and you look at the value of the cedi and inflation, then a picture is getting painted.
I'm even coming to the forex. Over 95% of what is used to produce cement in this country are imported. There are huge imports.
So we can take your word for it, Mr. Megaibo.
There are huge, I was reporting, I said over 75. There are huge import duties that are imposed by this government on every single thing that is imported into this country, and including the over 95% of the components that is used to produce this cement. That is one. Huge import duties. Two, the cedi has lost so much value because they don't import those inputs with cedis. They import the inputs with what? With dollars. Now, so if government is seeking to put the blame entirely on producers, that is where my
But I don't think they've said that entirely. They are putting them. I think there's been some acknowledgement that I'm saying there are factors.
No, government.
But at least can we mitigate the factors?
Government is the major player and determinant as to how much cement should be sold in this country. And I'll provide you with statistical...
You're going back into time.
No.
Is that what you want to do?
No, I'm providing with statistical evidences and convince you, and I believe I'll be able to convince your viewing public, that government is reneging on its responsibility. In 2009, a bag of cement was sold at 8 cedis. 2011, 9 cedis, that is 2 years apart. 2012, 12 cedis. 2014, 14 cedis. 2016, 16 cedis. 2017, that was the first year this government came into office, 18 cedis. But between 2017 to 2018, it jumped from 24 cedis to 36 cedis. And 2020, it jumped from 36 cedis in 2019 to 64 cedis. 2021, 75 cedis. 2022, 85 cedis. 2023, 95 cedis. And today in Accra, it is sold at 105 cedis. And I just told you, in Tamale, I bought it at 110 cedis.
Are there any cement producers in the northern belt of the country, or does that mean that they also have to come for it down south and then take it there and get a margin? Exactly. Which is why probably the 5 cedis is...
And maybe if you go further, it may even be higher than how much they are selling. But the point I'm making, the reason why prices of cement are escalating has nothing to do with the absence of regulation. Because why is it that between 2009 to 2017, every single year, it increased by 1 cedis? Every single year. Because if you look at 2009, which was 8 cedis, 2000 and even 11, 2 years apart, it increased just by 1 cedis. And 2011 to 2012, by 2 cedis. So every single year, it increases by 1 cedis. Yet you have this unacceptable elephant leap, if you like, of the increases in prices under this administration. So it tells you clearly, it has nothing to do with absence of regulation. I'm concluding on this. Right. It has to do with 1, huge import duties, and 2, the disastrous performance of the Ghanaian cedi as a result of the crass incompetence and the corruption, maladministration under this government. That is the fact.
Fine. Let me come to Mr. Amegayibo. You've heard Murtala make his case, make his point about LI 240. From where you sit, you do the construction, you put up these buildings. How has this reflected the price? How much are you buying cement for? Let's start from there.
I think the price is not so different from what Murtala is mentioning, but because he bought it in the north. So there's this transportation component. That
the last time you got cement, how much? I know sometimes when you're buying in bulk as well, they reduce the price.
It depends on the brand. But let's assume you are buying, say, Gassem, for example. You'll be buying it about 105 in Accra. Yeah, and so that is the price you are buying it for. There are other products also that are selling around 95.
Right.
Yeah, which are other
brands. So that let's make the point for our viewers, because I've seen someone, for example, say, for the records, Honorable Murtala, the price is 100 Ghana cedis, and if you want, I can get it for you. Another person says some outlet, hold on, said the data was not accurate, and you were. What you are missing is that there are different grades of cement, and each of them comes at a different price.
Exactly.
So don't think that whatever data or whatever, the prices are different. If you're buying Gassem, it's different. If you're buying Dangote, it's different. If you're buying Jata, it is different. And it also depends on what you're going to do with the cement. So don't just write anything you feel like.
I even have another data, which I got even from my Joy News.
Right.
I even have another data, which is not even different from the data I have provided. It just gives a slight of 1 cedi. It's the same thing.
All right. So let's.
Yeah. So as you are saying, there are also price differences.
Right.
But I think before I even delve into the main issues, I want to take this opportunity to clear the air on some misrepresentation and misconception about Grader making a statement and stating a position.
Go ahead.
On the LI. Grader has not officially made any statement taking a position on the LI. As an association and as a consumer of cement, it is in our interest to see that cement prices come down as much as possible. But this arrangement must be done in the framework of fairness and sustainability of the manufacturing companies, that they should be able to produce for us, to be able to get access to the material and buy. So Grader has not made any stand on this matter. We are all interested in seeing to it that the escalating prices are kept and then something is done to bring the prices down. And there are so many reasons why the prices are going up. Grader serves on the Cement Monitoring Committee. I have served on it 2 terms already. And so I am very much aware of what has been happening there before I even left. And even after, as I left, I have visited all the cement plants in this country. And so have a fair idea of what goes into the production of cement and what the challenges are. So as Mutala was saying, there are issues with taxes that are on the cement. There are issues with demurrage. In fact, the one on demurrage is so funny because demurrage, as I understand it, is bringing goods in and not being able to meet some requirements.
So after the days go by, you start getting charged.
Yeah, you start getting charged. But the cement manufacturer says that they are being charged for demurrage for no fault of theirs. I have brought the goods in, but there's only one dock that is discharging the cement. And you are charging me.
And so because there's one dock and there are delays, which I do not account for, I still have to pay.
Yeah. That is what they are saying.
You still have to pay the demurrage.
Yeah, that is what they are saying. I think it doesn't make sense for anybody to be incurring costs that is no fault of theirs.
Okay, so that's one point that is made. If we could add it to that, then it means that if we put the right structures in place, if for someone, it's not because I don't have the money to do the clearing, but through no fault of mine, why don't you have maybe 4 docks or 5 docks so that, because you know the component of cement that comes in, let's say every month or every quarter. So why don't you have multiple docks? If there's only one channel, it's like saying you have a stadium. There's only one outlet if there's a disaster or something of the sort. And then people go there. You know what will happen.
Yes.
Exactly. There'll be a stampede and people will die.
You can even say that because of the technical hitches occasioned by the fact that we are not able to produce several docks through which you can have your goods cleared. Instead of you paying demurrages, let's say a month or 2 weeks delay, we can extend it to 3 weeks or 4 weeks delay. So that beyond that, then people will then be charged the demurrages. Because the reason why they don't have the goods cleared, it isn't that they are unwilling to pay the required taxes or to have them cleared, but because they, even if
okay, so that point is made. Mr. Megaibo, quickly on that point, what do you think can be done? I will let you go ahead with your point, but what do you think then can be done in that regard in terms of clearing the goods, taking off the tax component if you know that? I mean, what exactly, or the charges, the demurrage?
I think I'm told they are given about 3 days, and then beyond the 3 days is where the demurrage charges. So if they are in a queue for no fault of theirs,
sometimes weeks,
let them just be in the queue and clear. I don't think they should be set charge for that at all. And then they're also talking about fumigation charges that are being slapped also on their product. I'm sure maybe that is just a general levy because you have brought in goods, but I'm not sure rats eat cement, okay? So if you are even charging them for that, I think you should engage them and let them have an understanding of why they are paying fumigation for cement.
Do you not know of any reasons for the fumigation charges?
Fumigation, obviously, if you are running a port service, you may need to have fumigation. But they are bringing the products, which I'm not sure can be contaminated.
COVID charges.
And they are being paid COVID charges as well, which COVID we know.
We are all paying the COVID charges.
Yeah, but how long ago has COVID disappeared in the system? And yet you are still paying charges. So that one, it cuts across board, you see. So for us, as I'm saying, we need to sit down. Sometimes you want to say like the local parlance, patapa. You know, you need to get the people.
Really? Patapa?
I mean, it's more like it. It's as if that is the way we want to go. I think we need to sit down with the people, let them tell you all the issues that are confronting them. And if you are coming to the table to discuss price regulation, government should bring something on the table in view of ABC, which are challenges that the manufacturers have brought on board. Government, will wish to take this ABC step to mitigate your problems so that we can come at a point. Then you can then ask the manufacturers that in view of me taking this off or bringing this as a contribution to the price hike, what is also, I also expect you to do A, B, and C. Then we know that there's some, agreement to work together as a team to bring the price down.
Right.
But if we don't go this way, it's as if the golden egg, which is the manufacturer, is being harassed. And then you want to cause significant prices for us, the consumers of the good. I think it doesn't seem to be fair. So let us play fairness. Let us allow this dialogue to take place, and then we can go. Unfortunately, the LI has been laid already yesterday. We were thinking that there will be that opportunity to engage more and more.
Honorable Mutala says there are ways of dealing with it. I listened to him.
Along the line, then that would be great, so that we can make inputs in that arrangement.
So in terms of these price hikes, you are saying that statement is not from you, or it's been misconstrued?
It was misconstrued. First of all, it was said by our former Vice President, Mr. Ablometi. He spoke in his personal capacity as a developer. He runs his own business and runs a real estate company. So he spoke throughout the interview and said, no, this is what I think should be.
But do you agree with him?
No, that's why I'm saying that we don't agree taking a stand that we want the airline or we don't want the airline.
Right.
Our position is that there must be a roundtable discussion. There must be a dialogue. Then issues are all brought onto the table. The manufacturers bring theirs, consumers will bring ours, and then the government also.
And your understanding too is that prices must go down.
Must go down.
But it must be done fairly to the cement manufacturers. All right. Let me just read this before I come back to you, Murtala. This one says, you can't, okay, so not that one. I wanted to, this one says, why are we always afraid of regulation of our commodities? I don't know whether you've read any economics, but I'll leave that to. This one says, the NPP is a failed government, nothing more, nothing less. This one says, the average price, yes, I was looking for that one. The average price of cement in 2016 was not 16 cedis, Honorable Murtala. It was 30 cedis. That's what he says. No, I'm just stating, relax, we've all done our, I'm just stating that so you can respond to it. And which other one? Yeah, so I think we'll deal with those ones for now. I wanted to come to you with that. So you see, the source of your data is?
Oh, I'm saying that I even have a data that is provided by your station, you know, Joy FM, and that data here, you don't see much difference. And like you explained, so
what do you see there?
I decide to use Gasem.
Okay.
Someone can decide to use Jata. Someone can decide to use other cement.
Diamond cement, Dangote.
The prices are not the same.
Right.
Even the price I quoted that I bought the cement at 110 cedis, I always use Gasem when I'm doing things. And sometimes...
And I think, Mr. Amegai, but they're super dry. There are different grades.
Yes, I use
so many of them, depending on what you want to do.
Sometimes I even use Jata. So depending on what you want at any point in time. The understanding also is that it's not every cement you use for development. You can use some for plastering.
Yes, some are for plastering.
Even the cements have...
Which is what I've corroborated.
But you see, the point I'm just trying to make is that in all these discussions, government has not been able to tell us what role they have to play. And that is why I want to lie on where he stopped. That we are demanding, all of us have agreed that the prices we buy cement in this country are just completely unacceptable. Now, the cement producers have been asked to ensure that they reduce prices. The ally was that regulating prices. Today, they are saying that it has nothing to do with price regulation. It has to do with price reporting. What does it mean? The minister is not...
You're a member of parliament. You're on the committee. Maybe you understand better.
No, you see, yesterday, the so-called amended ally, none of us has a copy. None of us has a copy.
Is that why Honorable Agboja was also saying he
was
had
informed.
been told?
Exactly. In fact,
you're saying that Honorable Agboja, even he doesn't have a copy?
I can't speak for him.
But you don't have a copy?
I don't have a copy. And after the LI was laid, I engaged Honorable Agboja, and he seems to be agreeing with me in terms of some of the issues and the questions I asked. Look, let's get something very clear. We all agree collectively that prices of cement should come down. We all agree. Because the last time I bought cement was the day before yesterday. Now, if we all agree that prices of cement should come down, and now we are demanding that there should be some regulation. By the way, there isn't any regulation any longer. We are told with the amended LI, it has nothing to do with the regulation. So those who are arguing that some people are against regulation, they should change the narrative. It is no longer about regulation. It has to do with price control. Price reporting, which doesn't make sense. To me, it's nebulous. Now,
okay, so for what purpose will the price reporting be done? That's then the question. Why are we reporting the prices? To what
end? If you check the LI, the proposed LI, I have told you that I haven't seen the amended LI. If you check the proposed LI, you know, if you look at section 1, talks about the import of the LI. The objective of the LI is about price regulation, price control. And if you come to section 2, do you know what section 2 says? That as part of the responsibility to regulate prices, that it will include producers of raw materials. Now we are being told that over 95% of the raw materials for the purposes of producing this cement are imported. How are you going to regulate prices in those countries? In any case, the MPP claimed to be a center-right political party where market forces, prices are determined by the forces of demand and supply. Even ideologically, it is against the principle they believe in. But the point I'm simply making...
But it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind.
That is the
At some point...
In all this discussion, government is not been able to tell us this is the role we are also going to play to ensure that prices of cement comes down.
Right.
The government has not been able to.
I mean, one factor would be, for example, if we are able to, you can't control, if 95%, as you say, and you are in the industry, is coming from external, forces.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about that. But what you can do, if, for example, the exchange rate falls, then it means the cost of production will be low, and then that will be done.
So the responsibility to put in the needed comprehensive, cohesive, very understanding, and very reasonable policy intervention is to ensure that you show up the value of the Ghanaian currency. So once the value of the Ghanaian currency is improved, naturally, cost of doing business in Ghana will improve. And I'll give you an example. Look, if government needs free, advice as to how they can do that, we have done that before in this country. In this country, in 2014, we succeeded in reducing the importation of rice into this country by 40%. We succeeded in increasing the production of local rice in this country by 60%. Under the NDC in 2016, we were spending a little over $500 million for the importation of rice and poultry products into this country. Do you know how much you spend now? Over $2 billion. Over $2 billion. So what it means is that...
Where are you getting this from?
Check Minister of
Committee
Trade,
reports?
Check Minister of Trade, check Minister of Finance. How much we are... In fact, as of 2018, the then Deputy Minister for Trade, Ahunka Lindsay, boasted when he met the Taiwanese government that we are now spending over $1 billion in importing rice alone from Taiwan. So if we are now spending over $2 billion in importing commodities we have the capacity to produce as a state, and when I say we have the capacity to produce, I'm a farmer, you know that. Thousands of bags of my rice are still lying in the farm. The former Minister for Health, Honorable...
Which one?
The one who just left. This, the one... our friend Ajimamenu has thousands of bags. I know where he farms. Thousands of bags of rice lying in the farm. We engage even the Minister for Agriculture.
Well, he's not here to confirm or deny.
I'm saying that he has. I know where he farms, and I'm talking about myself. Right. Honorable Akando has rice. Honorable Ayene, I can mention, including the Minister for Sports. I farm in his constituency.
Yusuf?
Yes. I even engage the Minister for Agric. So we have the rice that is there. Buy. You know why government won't buy? NADMO is still buying imported rice. NADMO, a disaster management, which is seeking to assist people who are in a desperate situation. They are still buying imported rice. Buffer stock, they are buying imported rice. So one of the easiest way by which government can reduce the pressure on our city, if we are able to do what the NDC did in 2014 up to 2016, reduce it because we have the capacity to produce that. When we put in these measures, trust me, the dollar will begin to come down, the city would appreciate in value, and the cement producers would have no justification to increase prices of cement using Forex as a means of doing so government should be able to tell us.
So are you suggesting the minister is blowing hot and cold on some of these matters? Because on the other end, your end also poo-pooed. You jettisoned the import bill, which also was looking to tackle some of these things. Are you not being hypocritical?
No, we didn't just jettison. We were talking about, if you like, tax incentives and holidays that are given.
And the powers of the minister.
I'm saying the tax incentives and holidays that are given to certain companies at the very time when we are seeking to borrow money. Money that is less than how much tax rebate we are giving to companies.
Hold for me. I see this message, and I'm coming to you, Mr. Megaibo. Yeah. In Enchi, Western North region, in Toh, Theophilus sends this. In Enchi, Western North region, prices range from 105 Ghana cedis to 130 Ghana cedis. He's reporting. If you are in Enchi, where they said, I'll send you to, I'll send you. You remember that? If you are in Enchi, please let me know. How much are you buying cement for? If you are in the Western region, Western North region, or in Enchi specifically, let me know. Let me see whether I can confirm.
You know one of the clauses in the proposed LI, one of the clauses which is so outrageous. They say that wholesalers, retailers and producers of cement should annually report. Do you know the number of retailers we have in cement in Accra alone? Now, let me tell you, if you have a producer or a wholesaler, someone who deals in cement, trading, the person comes to Accra to buy 1,000 bags of cement, transport the cement to Tamale. Another person buys the same cement from Tamale to Boku. Do you expect them to sell the cement at the same price?
I get your point. Mr. Megaibo, now, what has been the real impact of these price hikes? Because as some are pointing out, even peg it at 26 cities, around 2016. And now you are looking at 105, 110, 130, as someone is saying, in Enchi. And you can understand, they don't produce cement in Enchi. Exactly. They will have to come down south, get it, transport it, add on margins, and then you have a problem. What impact is this having on the building and construction that you deal with as Grader?
Yeah, I always make this analogy that construction or house building is a branch of manufacturing because we are also producing houses. And our product, unfortunately, does not take around 24 hours to produce, just like supermarket items where you just roll into a machine server and then in 24 hours you have the product finished. Ours take a long time to manifest. You start the foundation all the way to the roofing level. It could take you 6 months or even a year, depending on the kind of project you are doing. So when you are executing a project of this nature, and then you start with the foundation at 60 Ghana cedis a bag, you get to block work on the superstructure, you buy cement at 70 Ghana. You are doing the roof gabling, you are buying it at 80. When we are doing plastering, it is 90. When we are doing floor finishing, it is 100. Tell me how in the
and this will impact pricing because exactly. it will impact trust because you've told someone I'm putting this up for you at this cost, and then every step of the way you are increasing the price.
You are increasing prices. So it is difficult. Anytime quantity surveyors do their bill of quantities, they give a margin of something for what we call contingency. It is done within a framework of some base calculation, and then you say maybe 10% contingency. This 10% contingency will be consumed by 1 month of the beginning of the project. Sometimes we don't even start, then that contingency is already gone. How do you work the relationship between you, the producer of the house, and the person you have contracted with to execute a project over a period?
How have you navigated all of this in respect in reference to your clients? I mean,
yes.
What challenges exist?
Sometimes the client themselves, knowing what is happening in the market, may be willing to agree with you and say, look, I'm seeing what you are seeing. I was involved in a project where even before we started excavating the foundation, the pricing system on the market had already priced the project out. The client had to agree and say, look, we have done this contract already, but I am willing to pay you every cost difference that you incur on the market for your material if you show me evidence of purchase. How many clients will be willing to go with you?
Are most of them unwilling to do that?
Most of them are unwilling.
So you end up fighting?
Fighting. Some of them will even tell you that then the contract is over. Because he has a budget for this project. And if he doesn't have the financial capacity to go it through all to the end, he will recoil. He will call back the entire project altogether and say, look, let me go and rethink about it. Let me go and reorganize myself and see if I can raise the difference that is occurring before he comes back onto the market.
Is that leading to debt for you?
A lot. And then those who are even signing mortgages. Can you imagine somebody who has come to put an application, has come to take your property, has gone to the mortgage house and has gone to sign something, and this thing takes a process. By the time he signs the off-taker agreement with the the developer, and start processing his agreement with the mortgagee, by the time he gets to the end, he will be told that, sorry, the price we agreed on from day one on the mortgage price, I'm sorry, the developer has called and says that he cannot go with that price anymore, so we need to amend it. And then he go like, oh, either he himself will not qualify, or now the mortgage itself, you will not qualify anymore, because they have profiled you based on your income and work.
Exactly, and your income hasn't changed.
And your income hasn't changed, but the price has gone up. So sometimes when developers are pricing and indexing their price to the dollar, it is some of these reasons that people must appreciate. The reason why real estate developers sometimes index their price to the dollar. Because if I give a price today to you, and this hitches of cement price increment and all these increments, okay, I'm obliged to also make
it's not just real estate. I mean, so many things are being indexed to the dollar. But people now, even jewelry shops and the rest, if you go there, and people keep telling me they are indexing to the dollar, because what's the price of gold on the international?
And then it changes, it hits a lot of.
So if you use cedi equivalents, but that is the problem we have. But let me ask you this. Do you contract loans for some of your, because then,
exactly.
If you've contracted a loan, let's say $1 million, we know we are going to complete, let's say, 3, 4, 5 projects. And then all of a sudden, you are not able to complete 3, 4, 5. You are completing 1.5, 2 with that sum of money. What's the situation there?
If there's an exchange rate issue, obviously, I mean, your payment goes up. Yeah. If you had contracted dollar loan and it is 1:2, and it has gone up to 1:3, it means that you, as a CD earner, you have to, quadruple your effort to be able to raise the needed money to go back and pay. So, Benjamin, it's as straightforward as that. It has a very significant impact on our business. But let me play the devil's advocate.
But is it also leading to shoddy work before you play the devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Are some people likely cutting corners, not using, because if you don't do certain things with a foundation, we've had buildings collapse in this country.
So that is why the public must understand the kind of cement we have on the market, and they must appreciate the appropriate use of this cement. If in your imagination, Gasam is selling 42.5 N or R for a price, and you think it is too high, and you are in a hurry to go and buy 32.5, thinking that you are saving money, I'm sorry, that cement that you are going to buy is not appropriate for high infrastructure projects like concrete and columns of that nature. You cannot use those products. Now there's even cement purposely from plastering. Yeah. I hope people are not mistakenly in a hurry to go and buy these prices of cement, which are cheaper in terms of their price, and think that they are playing smart and saving money. Please, this is not correct.
It may lead to disaster.
It may lead to disaster because the various types of cement are meant for specific aspects of every project. So you may have a high-rise building sitting there, and a particular part of cement is used for the columns and the flooring, and another type of cement is used for the laying of the blocks, and another type of cement is used for the plastering. Yeah. So if you think that you are saving
even if you're going to use tiles and all of that, there's a different type of cement. So each one comes at its own price.
So where I said I want to play the devil's advocate, something must necessitate the reason why a government will want to regulate price, which we agree. It happened in the petroleum sector. It's happening in some parts of other prices like cement, and we are even asking, what about not iron rods as well? You see,
I've had people even send messages, and they regulatory rent and everything.
It will go
in there as well.
But what I mean is that something must necessitate, unless the minister has an information that all of us don't have, which is maybe he has every reason to believe that the cement manufacturers are in a cartel.
Okay.
Have decided to cartel us.
Manipulate the
price. But that was not the posture I got from the cement manufacturers, especially when we met yesterday. Because there was this information about the fact that the minister has decided to fast-track this airline and push it because he was not getting the cooperation of the cement manufacturers, and they are unwilling to disclose the ex-factory price of cement.
So you're trying to say the minister simply wants to bully the cement manufacturers?
That is why I use the word, the local balance.
No, but is that not what you are saying?
That is why I look at it.
Is that not what you are saying?
It might sound as if he wants to apply patapa, which is not the best way. You see,
all right.
My honorable, let me just finish.
Please let him finish. I'll give you enough time. Don't worry. Let him finish.
So the manufacturers are saying we are willing for transparency, and the airline is seeking to do price regulation, which the manufacturers are not comfortable with. So let's find a middle point. If the manufacturers are willing to be transparent in their pricing, when we all know where the average factory price is, everybody knows how much clinkers is sold on the international market.
Right.
Let's put these figures together. Let's find out how much they pay when the material reaches the port, the duties that they pay. Let us find out the effect of this demurrage that they are claiming is a major factor on why they have. Let's put all these figures together and let's see whether the manufacturers are reasonable in their kind of prices. If we don't do this calculation together, then we are misplacing the point.
All right. Let me just say this, and I'm coming to you, Murtala. Akasokre Joseph says, Upper East Bongo cement is going for between 115 cedis and 120 cedis. So I think the farther you go, the more you will pay because of transportation costs, among others. I know you have a reflection. I was going to hit you with a specific question, but quick thoughts on what he said, and then I'll come to you with your substantive question.
Well, my position is that in all these discussions we have, in all this debate, government has not been able to tell us what he can do. And when I say he, I mean government. What government can do to ensure that the prices of cement come down. Taking into consideration that government has a huge influence as far as the determination of prices of cement in this country are concerned. When you have over 95% of the inputs for the purposes of producing cement are imported, and those inputs are all taxed. When we all agree that Forex has a huge impact on the prices of cement we produce in this country. But you see, that is even besides the point. The initial argument was that it was price regulation. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
Or price control. If you check the proposed LI, the heading was price control. Now we are now being told that it is no longer price control. Then what's the essence of this LI?
Are you saying you doubt the LI?
I'm saying that
because you've not even seen the content of it.
If you check the proposed LI,
right,
which I have a copy.
Right.
The objective of the LI, if you check section 1, A, B, C are all talking about price control. In fact, every single paragraph, there's an element of price control into it. Yesterday, we were made to understand that the bone of contention was a price control, and that the price control has been removed. It is now price reporting. When we are not told, the content of the LI hasn't changed. It's just the name which has changed. If we were to change the content, it means that the minister would have come with a new LI entirely. That is why when you ask me whether the LI which was laid yesterday was the same thing as the LI that...
LI 240.
So I'm saying that the content hasn't changed.
All right.
So if it is the same LI, which I shudder to believe is the same LI, it's just the name which is changed from price control to price reporting. I have a problem. But you see, my worry is the responsibility of the minister and the Ghana Standard Authority. As a member of the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee, we engaged the Ghana Standard Authority, and they informed us at the committee level that there were some cement producers in this country who were producing substandard cement. And if you look at the component, there's a...
But I do remember some Chinese
I'm coming.
Cement manufacturers in the Ashanti region were
not only
shut down.
Not only they were shut down, but when we had a meeting with the committee again, they said when their task force went, some of them were producing again. And when they demanded, they said they had authorization from the above. The minister was there when this point was made. Now, don't you think it would be appropriate? The minister is seeking to come out with an LI that will regulate the quality of materials that are used to produce cement. When we have had experiences of buildings collapsing in this country, the minister is not interested in that. I would love that you engage the minister, and I would love that you ask the minister this question, because I have asked the minister without any response. I would love you ask the minister that tell us the role of government in the determination of the final prices of cement in this country.
Let me ask you something quickly before I get to the main point I wanted to bring. You've been a deputy minister of trade before.
Yes.
If you were minister in K.T. Hammond's shoes, if you were faced with these prices, what would you have done?
First and foremost, I won't do what K.T. Hammond...
No, I'm not asking what K.T. What would you do? What would you do?
First and foremost, I won't do what Honorable K.T. Hammond is doing. I won't do that. That's the first statement. 2, I would sit with the cement producers to find out what the challenges they face and for which reason they are selling at such prices. They would have told me that, 1, that we are paying higher demurrages, which is not any fault of ours.
What would you have done about that point?
I would have...
Let's take it one by one.
Insisted at Cabinet, engaged the Minister for Finance and the President, that as a result of the infrastructure challenges, for which reason cement producers finds it difficult to clear their goods timeously. Let's see if we can extend the days by which they will pay demurrages. Instead of 3 days, we can say, okay, 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, then you can begin to pay demurrages. That's the first step. The other one will be that how much import duties are you paying, considering the fact that over 95% of the inputs for the production of cement are imported. I'll consider that. What can government do in terms of reducing the tax burden on the importation of the inputs for the purposes of producing cement? Mind you, it's an essential commodity. So if I'm able to reduce it, then 3, what is also another factor? The other factor is Forex, the depreciation of the Ghanaian cedi. What kind of comprehensive policy intervention can we, through the Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Finance, and the government, implement to ensure that we show up the value of the Ghanaian cedi? And that is why I told you that one of the easiest advice I could give, if we were experiencing what we're experiencing today, that why is it that we are spending over $2 billion in important goods that we have the capacity to produce? I would say, NADMO, don't distribute imported rice any longer. Buy the rice from the Ghanaian.
But that is beyond them, isn't it?
No,
NADMO doesn't determine the purchases.
You're asking me what I would...
Okay, so you would have done that. Okay,
yes, I would advise that, look, NADMO, why? The money NADMO buys the items with is our money. So why would NADMO use our money, the taxpayers' money, to buy rice that is imported into this country, to buy commodities that are imported, when we have the capacity to produce them? 2, why is it that we are spending over $2 billion importing rice and poultry products, things we have the capacity to produce? I have just told you, every year AVNAJ buys the rice we produce. 2 years ago, last 2 years and last year, AVNAJ didn't buy. You know the reason? Government is the biggest buyer. Government is no longer buying from them. So if they buy from us, they won't be able to sell. Now, the farmers who produce the rice have the rice in the farms. And that's why I've just given an example. I engaged the former minister for health. Myself, I'm a victim, several other people. Now, if government decides to buy the rice from us, we will reduce the amount of money we spend in buying. And I told you we have done it before. In 2014, as a result of visionary policy interventions by President Mahama, we reduced the money, the money we spend in the importation of rice into this country by 40% and increase the production of local rice by 60%. So it has happened before. These are the kind of advices I'll give to government.
All right. Mr. Amegaibo, what would be, if you had the power, how would you approach this problem? What solutions, from the technical expertise you have, how would you approach this problem?
I think the first one is the issue of dialogue, which doesn't seem to exist. Yeah. The minister complains that he's tried to engage the manufacturers. The manufacturers have been difficult.
Right? And not referencing the meeting from, is it 2 or 3 days ago, but the development,
Cement Manufacturing Development Committee.
Right. Their chair, they had a meeting as
yesterday.
well. Yesterday.
Now, the committee even tells you that this airline which was placed, they haven't seen it. Anybody in that meeting...
That committee?
Yes. That meeting we had yesterday, nobody in the room has seen the airline. So if an airline is coming to work for everybody, the players have not seen it. The players did not make an input.
Even members of parliament.
And the minister is saying that he is not obliged to consult anybody. Let's say that is it.
No, he's obliged.
But there are conventions, the way parliament works. I mean, a member of parliament will tell us, before some of these things come to the floor, for it to impact and achieve its aim, it is consultation, which is number one.
And so you're saying that the minister has failed on that?
I think so. I think he's failed on that.
The minister has failed in terms of joy, consulting, engaging.
The people, government, after passing air license law, relies on agencies, relies on institutions, relies on businesses to do the collection or to make the airline impact as much as they want to. And the people who are going to make the airline impact have not been consulted. How do you expect
Do you feel KT Hammond is in too much of a hurry to see this through?
I think so.
You think he's in too much of a hurry?
Yeah, he needs to take his time. You see, when an industry which has never been regulated is to be regulated now, it takes time. You need to jaw. You need to stir the temperature of the people that the thing is going to impact, and then take your time to communicate the intent. This draft, if it had been given to the mandate of the committee, could have even been the people who drafted this airline for the minister to rather make inputs. I think it would have been easy to lay that airline.
Because if they put the things together. They are in full support of it.
But the people that the committee are not aware. Let me make a small correction. There is an LI that is supposed to register and license cement manufacturers and enforce the enforcement of standards.
Right.
And then where cement plants or factories are supposed to be located. So that LI has been passed. It was passed in November 2023. And it is supposed to take effect sometime now. So the committee, the committee that I just meant, Cement Manufacturing Development Committee, who are supposed to manage this LI, were inaugurated on the 8th of March.
8th of March this year?
8th of March this year.
I see.
And this is why we met yesterday, actually. So the chairman said, look.
You're a member?
Yes, I'm a member of the... No, we are not a member of the committee. Our membership is through AGI,
okay.
And the Ghana
Institution.
The Association of Ghana Industries.
And
so
then,
they all have representation.
They are all representation. And the Institution of Engineering and the Engineering Council. These are two strong bodies that can represent the construction industry, which is fine with us. So we don't have a problem with that. And they are saying, this is actually why we met yesterday. So they are saying that they want to explain things to us so that we appreciate. This is some of the things that we talk about. Consulting the people, judging with the people. And I'm telling you, before this LI 2480 was passed, it was in the full glare of the industry players. They made input into it before it was launched. So there's no problem with this.
Even in Parliament.
But in this instance, that has not been done.
Now I don't even know what the name is, whether it is price control or price, reporting or whatever. I have not seen it, so I'm unable to speak to it.
But would you be in any way, shape, form, be in support of price reporting for cement manufacturers? If you were a cement manufacturer, would you be for it?
In fact, I don't know what the reporting means. But I'm telling you that from yesterday, the meeting that we had with the manufacturers, they are saying that they are amenable to what? Transparency. They are willing to share their average ex-factory price. They make it open for all of us to see what is happening. So if these things are being done, they are willing to share their prices for all of us to see. Then what exactly is this LI supposed to do? To what? Regulate prices at what level?
To report, no.
First of all, some manufacturers or some cement prices on the market are lower than the 105 or whatever, unless they belong to the substandard group, which I don't know. I cannot confirm that. But assuming they are also producing at the high standard quality, I'm not sure whether this LI is going to be happy with those who are selling at that lower price today, or they will also be asked to pep up. Because maybe that's not the price the ministry is looking at. The ministry is looking at maybe 100. So those who are selling below 100, please up your game and come to 100. Then those of you who are selling 105 or above 100, you to what? Come down to 100. I'm not too sure what that is supposed to mean. But at the end of the day, the manufacturers are saying, we want to be transparent. We are willing to be transparent. We are willing to share our average factory price. And if all this is done, then we know see clearly what are the other additional factors, the taxes that are coming on, and other difficulties that they are going through, which is incurring extra cost to them, are all added on. Then we see clearly who is at fault,
right?
Who is playing game, who is playing cartel. We should just know this.
Are you done with your solution?
Yes, I am.
All right. So let me come to you. The process is 21 days. Required. We all know about Parliament going on its next recess and all of that. How will that play out in Parliament? You've also said, I heard you yesterday, that there are processes where you can still tackle this in Parliament. What will you do?
Well, even before that, when LIs are brought to Parliament and the LI borders on a certain group of people, in this case, whatever LI we pass would impact on the lives of the Ghanaian citizen or Ghanaian people. Usually what Parliament does is that the committee haven't engaged those who bring the LI, in this case the Ministry of Justice and others, and other various stakeholders who are involved. The committee also even engages the public. The public can make an input into the LI. Just yesterday in the morning, I had a discussion with Honorable Ayeni, who is the chairman of Subsidiary and Legislative Committee. And I said, look, it would be good we engage the manufacturers of cement, because we should be clothed with the detailed information. If there is a cartel, the minister doesn't need to hide that cartel from a committee of Parliament.
Right.
It needs, because you come to us to give you the legal backing. We need to know the full story. Now, and then Honorable Ayeni agrees that, look, he would get them so that we engage them. just yesterday, and then the LI was late. The reason why I think that there wasn't much...
Let me just quickly ask you this. Do you think your leadership in Parliament was, I'm using this respectfully, fooled into accepting this?
Not fooled. Not fooled. You see, that's why I said that...
Or tricked?
No, not tricked. That's why I said yesterday that after the LI was late, I registered my protest. I made my position very clear. I engaged in the leadership. And in fact, Honorable Agboja agrees with me to a very large extent. And he says, look, that is not the end of the LI. Once the LI is late, and to answer the question you asked, they have 21 days of sitting for it to become law. If you calculate the number of days we now have left, if we do not sit on Mondays, this LI will come to naught.
Okay.
By the time we rise, if we do not sit on Mondays, they won't get the 21, if you like, our 21 days of sitting. And again...
But that can be managed, and the Speaker could be, there could be recommendations for the Speaker to do that.
That is why some of us strongly believe that having engaged, like I told you, I engaged some of our leadership, and there are a lot of people, even across the aisle, who have the same sentiments and agree with the position...
You mean from the majority side?
Yes, some of us have taken. That, look, it simply doesn't make sense, because if you tell us that it was no longer about price regulation, it is now price reporting. You haven't been able to explain to us what constitutes price reporting when every single section of the proposed LI borders on price.
Okay, so that point is made. What will you do as Murtala Mohammed? What are you going to do?
First and foremost, we need to I will continue with the engagement from both sides, from our side. And I'm not the only person. Many of us who agrees with this position. And today we will also try to convince Parliament, in this case, Mr. Speaker, by engaging the manufacturers of cement. Like I told you, Honorable Ayeni promised that he was going to get them, and then we engaged them. One of the challenges I had with what Parliament did, it was referred to Subsidiary and Legislative Committee. It borders on one, laws, natural, that's the committee, but we were expecting that it would be a joint committee with the Committee for Trade, Industries and Tourism. Because, mind you, whatever law that is passed, the enforcers of that law falls under the ambit of the Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Right.
The Ghana Standard Authority, any other agency that is going to be tasked with the responsibility to ensure that the LI is effectively implemented, it is going to be the Ministry of Trade and not a committee of Parliament. So we're expecting that there will be a joint committee. I sat in as a friend of the committee because I had particular interest. So I think that we're able to raise this with the Speaker. And I believe that once we engage the other stakeholders in this matter, the Speaker may see reason in some of the points we are making.
Gentlemen, 30 seconds each. Final words, Mr. Megaibo.
I think the LI has been laid already, unfortunately. So industry players have no choice. It has been laid.
Are you sad that that happened?
Well, I don't want to say...
Are you unhappy?
I am unhappy.
Will you be happy if it is truncated?
Well...
He says he's unhappy, so I think that answers
if it is truncated, what avenues do we have to discuss price coming down?
So that is our
point.
Proper consultation
takes place.
Yes.
So I think from the meeting yesterday, it has been laid already. As you are saying, as a legislator, you are saying that there's also avenue to make input within the 21 days that is allowed to us. So before we left yesterday, the agreement was that when the LI is published, all of us look into it, make our input and submit it where necessary. The chairman has agreed to organize maybe 1 or 2 meetings before the 21 days so that we can, put our inputs together and then submit it to
30 seconds, let's go. Final words.
Our point is very clear. We all feel the brunt of paying higher prices for cement, which is completely unacceptable. The cement producers have questions to answer. The minister and government also has questions to answer. Our position, and the reason why we have a problem with this is that government is trying to blame entirely the cement producers without telling us what role government can play in ensuring that the prices of cement come down. And one of the rules government can play, ensuring that there are comprehensive policy intervention to show up the value of our domestic currency, ensure that the demurrages that they pay as a result of delay, which is not any fault of theirs, government takes steps to reduce that, either by providing more docks or, again, extending the number of days that they are inputs to be attracting the money. And last point is that we're also hoping that government will take steps to have some tax incentives for this producer because it's essential commodity. If government does that, wouldn't it be fair that he extends that to other essential commodities? I think that this LI was brought as a result of uncontrollable emotion, which would yield to nothing, to be very honest with you. And even implementing and enforcing it is going to be extremely difficult. These are not the kinds of policy interventions government should be seeking to.
All right. And that's how we're going to cap off the conversation this morning. Those who joined me, Tamale Central legislator Murtala Mohammed, he is not supportive of his caucus's positioning as far as accepting this bill. He has shared his thoughts.
Of my
I have different views. You have different views. How different is it from what I have said?
Even my caucus, in fact,
But it's fine. It's fine. Let's just stick to your wedding. Let's not turn this into another.
The minority chief whip position was that having been informed with some of these changes, we think that we support it. It doesn't mean that we support it entirely.
Okay.
If there are some reasons.
So you don't support your caucus's decision in entirety, right?
Oh, yes, I don't.
Okay.
Users of cement want to see prices come down.
Right.
It should be done in fair manner.
And that is Mr. Samuel Amegaibo. He is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association. Both of them joined us for this conversation. The conversation continues. Out there, you are buying cement, and you can tell us better. But stay with us. Up next, when we return from the break, we give you AM Business. Of course, today being a Wednesday. Now, effective supply chain management fuels economic growth by optimizing production processes and facilitating trade. It also enables businesses to reach wider markets, expand their operations, and create employment opportunities. Well, today on AM Business, my colleague Isaac Atase Nyako assesses the impact of events such as the Russia-Ukraine conflict, COVID-19 pandemic, and how Africa can build an effective chain to support trade among member states. Enjoy. Welcome back on the AM show, and now we're talking about that industrial action to do with CLOGSAG. Well, they are saying they're going to meet the Labour Commission, but they are complaining about their salary adjustments that have not been applied. And they are still having their engagements. They are hitting the streets. And we're going to be engaging some of them to find out what exactly is happening. We're heading to the ministries where Sweetie Abochi is standing by. Sweetie, if you can hear me, walk us through what exactly is happening, where you are, and what is the latest in respect of this industrial action.
Government Staff Association of Ghana, that is CLOGSAG, yesterday announced that they would embark on an industrial action. They say that as of 2022, a memorandum of understanding was reached for a new salary structure to be implemented from the 1st of January 2023. A year and a half down the line, that new salary structure has not been implemented, hence the need to embark on this strike. And true to their words, this morning we are here at the offices, and I count only 2 security personnel guarding the place, but nobody is here. There's no staff here. Their gates and some vehicles have been branded with red cloth, signifying the industrial action, but nobody and no activity is ongoing. In fact, you can walk right into the reception area of this building and you won't meet a soul. And so, indeed, CLOGSAG is on strike. Now, mind you that this is a trade union that serves as a mouthpiece for civil service and local government staff and other establishments. And when they are on strike, it's a big deal because we're talking about local government and we're talking about civil servants. And so as you can see here, there's nobody in the building. I counted just about 2-3 security personnel who say they came because they don't want to abandon the place. I also saw one gentleman who says he'll speak to us off record, and he explains that most of their bosses have even turned off their phones, and so you can't even reach them. We understand that there will be a meeting later on today with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, but they haven't yet confirmed if CLOGSAG will be there in that meeting. So this morning, this is the assessment of the situation. CLOGSAG is on strike. There's no staff here in their buildings, in their offices. It's just 2 or 3 security personnel here guarding the place.
Well, Sweetie Abochi, thank you very much. I believe on the back of that, there's even no one to engage on this matter. But is there anything else? Have you been able to speak to any of them? I see one person going by there. I don't know whether that's a red armband around his neck or just the dress. Is it possible to engage anybody at all to find out what their thinking is?
We tried to speak to some of them, but they say they do not have authorization to speak to us. Their bosses have been very clear that they shouldn't even come to the office. They are here for their own personal stuff. One person said he left a document here, so he only came to pick it up. And so they will not speak to us. We can take footages. We can see the red cloth that they've used to brand the place, and that is the message they have for whoever needs to hear from them. And until their bosses clear them, they will not say a word. And these bosses, they say, have also turned off their phones. So this is a real industrial action with no communication whatsoever, indicating that indeed they want their demands to be met before anything else is done. Mind you, this is an indefinite strike, but we wait to see how that meeting goes later today, together with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Ben.
Thank you very much, Sweetie Abochi, braving the rains to actually bring us the scoop from the ministries. And like you saw, the red bands and everything, barricades and everything, they have laid their tools down on the back of well, the complaints that they have made. They are going to be engaging the Labour Commission today. No one can tell what the fruit of that meeting will be. And they have said that they are not bound to revert on their strike. Well, we'll take a breather here. When we return, we'll still bring you more action right here on the AM show. Stay with us. Welcome back, and we stay trained on that matter. So the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana has laid down its tools. Members have laid down their tools, and we continue the conversation, finding out what exactly this is about and what the way forward can be ahead of their engagement with the Labour Commission today. Joining us for a conversation, we have Labour expert Austin Gummy. Mr. Gummy, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Akakpo.
It's really good to have you. You are my senior man, so it's a privilege to be called brother by you. But tell me, what do you know so far in respect of this? This wouldn't be the first time that CLOGSAG is on strike. It's not. But the issues they raise, salary issues and everything in between, and how unfairly they've been treated, and the positioning ahead of encountering or meeting with the Labour Commission. What do you make of it so far?
Thank you. Look, the CLOGSAG office is about a minute and a half walk away from the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations.
True.
So my experience with CLOGSAG is that when there is an issue that we do not know of, as soon as we hear, immediately there is a meeting. They walk from their office to my office or the ministry, and we resolve the matter, and that's the end of it. So hardly CLOGSAG would go on a cat call type of strike, as is being mentioned now. They have negotiated,
right,
or supposed to have negotiated over 1.5 years ago. And the implementation challenges with the employer has become the bane or the concern now. And it does appear as if, hearing from what is going on now, it means the employer is seeking to renege on the agreement they have themselves voluntarily signed. And if you do that, you break the trust between you and the workers. And what it is that they have very little choice, if they are not getting the attention they deserve, to take a strike action. You can describe it whether it is legal or illegal. That would be something to be discussed thereafter. But generally speaking, the employer is presumed to have costed the cost of the agreement they were going to sign before they put pen to paper. And so now that they are reneging on it, what it means is that they've not been careful enough. And so they are on strike now. The Labour Commission can only appeal to them and request the employer to go and implement the agreement signed onto and report back to them within a week or so. That is what they will be able to say, because you have already signed something onto and now you are reneging on it for whatever reason. It's not acceptable.
Now, on June the 21st, they had come through with a release threatening that they would embark on the strike on the 3rd of July, which happens to be today. You just made mention of the fact that the Ministry for Employment and Labour Relations is just a stone's throw, which it is, from, CLOGSAC, or at least their administrative office. Are you then surprised that, barring everything in between, this action is even happening, is even taking place today? How, I mean, what do you make of that?
I like the little gesture of your laughter before ending the question you just asked. That's exactly what it is. In any nation I have studied and I have been to, the Ministry of Labour, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations in our case, is the most prominent among the cabinet ministers. It is not even Minister of Finance, because in the absence of peace, what you have is turmoil, you have confusion, and you are never going to have productivity, in place. So clearly what it is that proactivity has been missing in the dictionary of the governance structure of the country. And it's up to all of us to recognize that we should not leave into the hands of the people governing us to sometimes do things like this. Even the media has to be proactive. But since 21st of June, CLOGSAC made us all aware through the same media. We all went to sleep until yesterday and this morning before we start talking about it again. So we are all, jointly and severally guilty of some sort. So I think that we must question not just the surface of it. Let's ask the question. The question is, the employer, did you sign this MOU with CLOGSAC? The answer may be yes, and indeed it's yes. Did you cost, how much it will cost you before you agreed to it? The answer is we didn't really take care of it as such. We now recognize that it's a burdensome stone we have hung around our neck. And so that people, those who must resign. Almost immediately they must resign because you have let the nation down.
Wait. Who must resign? Who must resign? The Minister of Employment?
I respect him a lot. But that's not the case. Now,
Mr. Game, are you saying that the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations must resign?
And all those in the chain that contributed to the making of this agreement must get out. Because in America, they will not allow this. In no nation will they allow it. May I repeat it? No nation, no society, no civilized society will allow a thing like this. You have signed an agreement and you are to implement the agreement over 1 year now. Did you cost it? Did you know the consequences before you sign onto it? If you put us into such a decision, if the president cannot fire you, you yourself should resign. That's what it is.
I see. Let's talk about what they are looking for. They talk about the new payment structure. You are aware of it. Walk us through what exactly this is and why it has become crucial for members of CLOGSAC.
Ben, that's exactly what I just said a while ago. When they were going to sign this agreement.
No, I'm not asking. I'm not asking for what they said about the agreement. The salary changes that they are talking about. I want you to tell us, expatiate on it for us and why it is so important to CLOGSAG?
Indeed, by our law and by practice, every year, employers undertake what you call a wage opener, or if it is a substantive wage review, the parties get together. In the case of government, they are led by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. There is a national salary structure, albeit one of the colonial type of salary structures, because they are operating notice type of system. They are not operating a real salary structure that is based on productivity. It's about people have come to work and so they have to be paid. That kind of traditional kind of notice system. It's not a broad-bound salary structure where people are placed on it and based upon productivity, they are moved around. So they never cost anything seriously. What they cost normally would be how much will it cost us to pay this money? The entities, they put it down, and that goes into the national budget. That's the end of it. That's just the end of it. And that's exactly what they did. And now come to pay, because of the problem we have, the hiccup we have in the economic structure of our country, with all this haircuts going on, that's why they are now reneging on it. That's just about it. Nothing more, nothing less.
All right. My final bit to you, this is not the first time that CLOGSAG has embarked on an industrial action like this. Even in respect of this specific case, they have made requests time and again, and often they have to lay down their tools to get here. Is there any mechanism we can use to nip this in the bud for a more permanent solution? What would you propose?
That is why we have a Ministry of Labor. That's why we have Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. That's why we have even national security. The experience is that this matter has been seized with national security long time. What have they been doing about it? In days past by, the Honorable Kofi Totobi-Quachi will not allow any responsible ministry to let these things slip and wait till the people take their actual strike. We meet and negotiate with them. We even negotiate with the armed forces. We negotiate with the police service. So it is not like it's something strange that government has come into office new. 8 years into office. Experience have been gained. And fortunately, the minister is a gentle and nice person. He's not a very vicious person. Why didn't they call the people to have this matter? So it's about 1 year ago. And now we are running helter-skelter. This is firefighting. We don't need firefighting in industrial relations. It's not done anywhere. So I think that what should be done is that in the future, the labor law is very clear. Our labor law is a very practical labor law. People who don't understand these things should know that there are other players in the country you can always consult. You can even invite a private person to come and guide you and lead you. It's done everywhere in the world. So I'm surprised that we are still in this old adversarial relationship with labor, and now CLOGSAG is on strike. A whole civil service, local government system is virtually paralyzed. If they really go on a strike, that means that we are paralyzed. Today, productivity will be very low. If Joy, you will need information at any of the ministries that you go, you are likely not to get the entire information. It means your productivity will suffer. That is the extent to which it is. So in future, I think that the Ministry of Employment should be up to the task by inviting them. And if they advise, if the ministry, sometimes the ministry advise, and it is Ministry of Finance that creates the problem, the hiccup along the line. So I think that these two ministries should ensure that they work collaboratively to prevent some of these things from happening in the first place.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Game. Austin Game is a labor consultant. Stay with us because even moving away from there, we'll be taking you shortly into that event. It's the EU-Ghana Business Forum. It's taking off today at the Marriott Hotel, and we'll be bringing you live coverage of that in a bit, right here on the AM show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, before we cross over to the Marriott Hotel, let's talk a bit about prostate health. How healthy is your prostate? Well, we have Phytotech Limited in the house this morning, and their medical representative, Ernest Opoku-Antwi, is in the studio with us. Mr. Opoku-Antwi, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Uncle Ben.
Thanks for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
So we started off the conversation backstage, and I'd like to find out, what are you going to be talking about today?
Yeah, today I want to talk about how prostate enlargement can lead to catheterization and end up reducing your quality of life.
So how prostate enlargement can lead to catheterization, the use of a catheter to pass urine and all that.
And then up reducing your quality of life.
Wow. Of course, if there are any such with the body, it does reduce your quality of life.
Definitely.
But let's talk about prostate enlargement for starters. Sure. What is it?
Uncle, as one ages, we have prostate with men. Women don't have prostate.
Indeed.
So at one ages, you gain weight. As you gain weight, the prostate gland also gains weight.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it gains weight and it kinks on the urethra. So it prevents the free flow of urine from the bladder to the outside. So once it happens then there's retention of urine inside the urinary bladder.
I see. I do know that some of the enlargement comes with age, normal, right?
Definitely. As you age, there's imbalance of hormones, estrogen, then testosterone. These hormones imbalances leads to enlargement of the gland. Another hormone, dihydrotestosterone, all adds up with enlargement. It speeds up the enlargement process. So the process gains weight, the enlargement increases, and it kinks on the urethra.
When you say it kinks, what do you mean? I get what you mean, but what is it?
On the urethra, so that the urine doesn't have the free flow outside.
And that is where sometimes urinary retention, you feel you've passed urine, but you still feel there's something left.
Retained, leftover of urine inside the bladder. So sometimes it blocks completely, and the bladder becomes full, and you struggle, and you are so stressful, very, very, very discomfort and painful. You see a man sweating, trying to pass urine, but the urine cannot come.
Right. And that is where
it is an emergency.
A catheter.
So it will end up with catheterization to relieve you temporarily,
right,
so that you can have some kind of comfort. Then later, the management will follow.
Right. Can this be prevented? I know that the enlargement of the prostate is a normal process.
That's right.
Eventually, with age.
That's right.
And like you're saying now, weight gain, it will happen. But can it be managed?
Definitely. We manage it with catheter.
Okay.
And catheter is just a thin, flexible rubber that is inserted via the urethra and then gets into the urinary bladder, so it can drain the urine outside when the prostate gland has prevented the urine from coming outside. So what happens is we have about 3 types. We have the intermittent one that we used to drain most of the time and then take it out. Then we have the one called suprapubic. That one, during acute retention, when the man is under severe stress, we put it just over here and then drain the urine. Then we have another one which is inserted permanently or for a period of a month. Then you go and then change it. Period of a month, you go and change, prevent infection, and then you go and change for a new one so that we manage the prostate gland to become smaller. So when we see that it is smaller, then we can take it out. So this is what we are talking about, the indwelling one.
Okay.
Yes, the Foley's catheter.
Okay. So now let's talk about medication, and how this can be dealt with to prevent your getting to that point, which is why Phytotech is here today. What solution do you have?
We want to prevent the population, the men at least, from getting into this stage where your quality of life will be reduced.
Right.
So we advise the public to prevent this condition from getting worse, so your quality of life will not get questionable or will not be under severe stress. For example, you want to go closer to your partner. You cannot go to your partner because there's something fixed in there. Right. And that is intimacy disturbances. Your wife needs you, but you cannot go close to her. Sometimes the risk of infection that is attached to this insertion is also one. the trauma, the pain, the discomfort that you go through. Sometimes you have to take your time off your duty to go to the hospital for them to change this catheter for you. Sometimes you can't even play your normal games. You have this thing inserted with the bag attached. How can you go and do some physical activity? You can't. It restricts you from doing these activities. And above all, you depend on the medical devices. The care to prevent infection is so much. So you see that your quality of life has become so much disturbed. And we want you to avoid this. We want the public to avoid this so you can have good quality life when you are aging. In fact, research shows that people who have aged 51 to 60, 50% of them will develop benign prostatic hyperplasia. It will enlarge. And those who develop the BPI or the BPH will definitely end up developing acute urinary retention. About 60 to 70% of them will develop the retention. And when they develop the retention, 25% of them will end up having the catheter in situ. So we don't want you to have catheter when you want to have your normal life. After your pension, you want to enjoy, then there's catheter in there. How do you enjoy quality of life? You cannot enjoy quality of life.
I see. So then, this product that you're proffering for us this morning, what role does it play? What is the name of the product?
The name of the product is Prostat 60.
Prostat 60.
Prostat 60.
Right.
What we are saying is it's a natural product. We used the natural herbs.
So is it organic?
It's organic, purely organic. Okay. There's no artificial additives.
Okay.
And we have used scientific method to extract the component, active component. And we have concentrated the component, subjected to rigorous scrutiny, so that the concentration and the dosage is carefully calculated to make sure that if you take one capsule, it does what it's supposed to do.
Right. And so the grams or the milligrams are efficient.
Everything is calculated, effective. So you don't need to take too much of our product to get results.
Okay.
It has about 4 components. It has anti-inflammatory. So when the prostate enlarges, there's inflammation. So it heals the inflammation and it shrinks the prostate.
Right.
So you can get relief. It has antibacterial properties. So if there's an infection there, it will clear the infections. Then it also boosts your immune system. So you can have the ability to strive out.
I see.
Yes.
Interesting points that are being...
And a lot of urologists are writing them. They are prescribing them. They are selling it out there for their patients because they get results. No doctor will write or will prescribe a product without getting results and keep on writing or prescribing it. So every doctor will make sure that once I put this product to my patient, I need the results and I get them.
Now, before we talk about costs, and I know it's, but let's look at, I mean, we do know that people of African descent or extraction are more prone to some diseases.
That's right.
Including
prostate
disease and all of that. So we should be paying more attention to some of these things.
Especially the age groups. Because
and I was about to come to that because I hear the age is dropping now. First, you would hear of people in their 50s, 60s.
Getting it.
Now, they say if you are 35, 40. You should start looking up. Is that correct?
It's right, 100% right. Because of our activities, our behavior, our way of life, our eating habit, everything contributes to the dropping of the age, developing the condition. So now, the research shows that about people with about 35 to 50 and then 60 years, about 70 to 80% of them are developing the condition. They are developing the condition so fast.
35 to what?
To 50, they are developing it.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us now about where people can find Prostat 60.
Yes.
Is it affordable enough?
Very, very affordable.
What are the dynamics?
Yes. In fact, it's value for money. You use your money to get the product and you really benefit from the product. You will never waste your money for getting Prostat 60. In fact, if you want to get Prostat 60, just call the helpline 0246 490116.
Please repeat that.
0246 490116.
One last time.
0246 490116. If you call this helpline, they will help you wherever you are. Outside, people are calling from all over the world. Then we ship it to them.
I see.
Yes. Wherever you are, we will ship it to you because it is approved by FDA. It has everything internationally approved. So wherever you are in the world, wherever you are, Ghana, all over the world, you can get it.
And it is wholly organic.
Wholly organic.
Wholly organic.
Wholly
all plants-based and all of that.
plant-based.
But I also know that it is in some pharmacies. I've been to pharmacies
Definitely.
where, by the way, I know that thing where sometimes people talk about things they've never used and they hype it. I have personally used. If I go into my car right now, I do have some. Your colleague, the other one who comes, I've forgotten his name. Yes, he gave me some. I've tried it and it's actually pretty good. Every time I've gone to, and I'm not necessarily saying totally related to your product, but every time I've gone, my prostate has been in for a checkup.
That's right.
In very good
PSA.
shape. But I don't want to wait for anything to, so I take some of these to.
So you are being proactive.
Exactly.
That is the reason why we are here.
Exactly.
Everybody should be proactive.
Right.
Like you are doing.
Right.
It's to help them.
It's colored blue and white.
That's right.
It's
right.
interesting.
That's right.
But I do know that in some pharmacies, they have them.
In fact, all the pharmaceutical companies across, the
Right.
bigger pharmaceutical companies, NS Chemist, all the pharmaceutical companies, once you go and you tell them you want Prostat 60, they will give it to you.
All right.
If you go to Kumasi, it is all over. If you go to Accra, wherever you go, they have Prostat 60.
All right.
And it is affordable. Yes.
Mr. Entry, final words?
Yes, my final words is let us try to prevent catheterization, which will reduce your quality of life by using Prostat 60 as prophylaxis. Prophylaxis means I'm trying to use some preventing the condition from occurring before you rush to go and treat.
All right.
So let us try to use it as a preventive measure so that we don't get to the stage where we will have to go for catheterization, thereby reducing our quality of life. We don't want everybody to go there.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Phytotech Limited.
Yes.
And of course, it's all about your prostate and keeping it healthy.
That's right.
Ernest Opoku-Antwi is the medical representative from Phytotech Limited. He joined us this morning for this conversation. Now, before we take our next break, under the distinguished patronage of Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, the UPSA Law School proudly presents the 2024 Lifetime Achievement in Law Award and Honorific Lecture. Now, this event presents a rare but high-level opportunity to recognize and acknowledge the outstanding and exemplary contributions of notable Ghanaian personalities in the areas of the rule of law, governance, and the legal academy. Well, this year's Lifetime Achievement in Law Award will be conferred on Nana Dr. SKB Asante, Paramount Chief of Asante Asokore, and former Director, United Nations Center on Transnational Corporations, and Chairman of the Committee of Experts which drafted the 1992 Constitution of Ghana at an august ceremony befitting the aura of the occasion. Now, the event comes off on Thursday, the 25th day of July 2024 at 5 p.m. at the Kofi Ohene Kunedu Auditorium at the University of Professional Studies, Accra. If you'd like to visit their social media platforms, you can do so, UPSA Law School, or also call 0245 347 946 for more information. But now let me also tell you about the Euros, Euro 2024. We at the Multimedia Group are proud to announce that we are the official free-to-air radio broadcast right owners of Euro 2024. Now here's our promise. We will deliver live commentary of selected games, including the opening game and the finals, with our team of talented commentators and analysts on Joy FM, Love FM, Hits FM, Adom FM, Insura FM, and Asempa FM. But that's not all. Apart from the live radio commentary, the Multimedia Group has also curated custom Euro 2024 shows on radio, TV, and digital, as well as live viewing events, all aimed at delivering an unparalleled experience of the competition to our audience. The Multimedia Group's radio broadcast coverage of the Euro 2024 tournament is by courtesy of Sporty TV and Sporty Bet. Watch selected matches of Euro 2024 live on Sporty TV at channel 36 on your digital TV sets. And I'll leave you with this last one before I take a break. For the first time, the Dubai Property Expo is here in Ghana by HJ Real Estates, located at 28 Yosef Broz Tito Avenue, Cantonment, Accra, and it's opposite the Diamond City Apartments. Now, HJ Real Estates, your property advisor, presents exciting opportunities for investment in Dubai, and they'll be telling you about why you should invest in Dubai. Well, it's a tax-free income, good rental income, guaranteed high returns on investment, and flexible payment plans for high capital appreciation. Again, there's a 0% property tax, tourist destinations close by, and is the safest country in the world up to date. So it's the expo date, 21st and 22nd of June 2024, time 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. So make your bookings now and contact them for more information on 0537 586 262. The WhatsApp line is 0537 586 262. The website www.hjrealestates.com. That is the letter H and the letter J together with realestates.com. On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, you can locate them at HJ Real Estates. HJ Real Estates, your trusted partner. We'll be back on the AM show after the break. Chief. Welcome back on the AM show, and by some abracadabra, I brought back into the studio Mary Poppins, a.k.a. Sweetie Abochi.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Ben.
I see you were in the rain trying to get us the scoop, but what else did you see at the Clocksag, you know?
I saw two gentlemen who wanted so bad to explain to us how angry they were, but because they didn't have clearance, they didn't want to, you know, put themselves in any trouble. And so they said, you see, walk right into the building. No one will stop you. And the security personnel just tried to come because they don't want to abandon the place. But it tells us that these people are angry a year and a half down the line after these new salary structures have been, you know, agreed upon. What's the delay in implementing them? And so let's look forward to that meeting later this morning and see, I think it's around midday, and see what comes out of it. Although CLOSAC has not actually confirmed if they will be there, or they will be present at that meeting. Labour Commission, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and the government of Ghana, I think, a representative.
When I listened to them yesterday, they said they would wake up today and they would see whether they would be in the mood to go for the meeting. I found that interesting. Yeah. But before we have you tell us what you'd be up to this weekend and Girl Get Up Africa, let me just introduce you to Escape, actually the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel. I want you to escape there, and I'm in a hurry. Escape to the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel that is known as Drapa Dubai. You have seen the rest. Now it's time to see the best. So take a break from work, take a break from the south. The Royal Cozy Hills Hotel Drapa Dubai is the place to relax, rewind, and re-energize. It is away from the stress of the south. Now this is what awaits you. Are you ready? 1, an unforgettable safari experience, an amazing array of wildlife including lions, hippopotamuses, zebras, ostriches, among many others, using our spacious and well-secured game tour vehicles or using quad bikes. 2, water sports such as jet skiing, boat or canoe rides. 3, various family games to keep you and your families excited every day. And there's still more. 4, great tourist attractions in the Upper West region, including the Mushroom Rock, Slave Caves, etc. So I'm inviting you. Escape from the south, escape to the north, escape to the Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, Drapa Dubai for an unforgettable safari experience. Just call 0501 694 280 or 0248 844 463 to make your reservations or put in your inquiries now. But before we go off, this weekend promises to be interesting.
Yeah.
What's Girl Get Up Africa going to be up to?
Girl Get Up Africa is launching our book club, the Mentee Book Club. So it's a non-profit organization. We are 3 years running. We've had yearly or annual seminars, and this time we thought we should do an activity-based event where we can share stories, read some more inspirational stories. I'm a prophet, or I preach living with intention. And I know that every 24 hours we have a choice to do what we want with our life. So this Saturday, if you're a young woman, if you're interested in books, fun, snacks, and some good vibes, join us at Ian Nancy Library, East Legon, for an experience worth your while. And if you're watching us, you want to support us, give us some money or whatever, I'm open to it. Maybe in the course of the week, I'll give you my phone number, and then you can call me and we can arrange that. But yeah, that's what's happening this weekend.
The Nancy Library. And I see what? Awake, aware.
That's the theme, and achieving. That's our theme for this year. So every year we have a theme. Yeah, last year was transforming our mind for intentional living also. So this year it's awake, aware, and achieving. And that's my life.
All right. I don't see any birthdays for today, but if you're celebrating your birthday today, guess what? We love you, and we're celebrating you too. And that's how we cap off the AM show this morning with Sweetie Abochi.
And Benjamin Nakakpo, a.k.a. Mary Poppins. We'll see you on the flip side. I don't know why I said that.